poster, but it's not gonna happen. And then I still got this one. I haven't seen it in a minute, but I will save this one for
Bowfinger. Yes.
This is. I don't know where this one falls in there. This is a special place. This one doesn't really have a number rating for me. Like if we ever do this one, or if I ever do a 5-minute review of this one, that movie just falls it's like South Park for me. Like in my animation, my favorite shows, South Park does not fall in the category because it just falls under like God or it's like must watch. You can't like not see South Park. And then like kind of like basketball, like I'm like I don't rank Michael Jordan. You just put him up there. Like you just go up there and then leave it alone. And then you do your rankings. So that's kind of that's what I do. But Bowfingers, it's just a very special movie for me because it's I guess we'll start side by side already. But I like Bowfinger because when I was growing up, I liked watching the HBO behind the scenes where they show how movies were made, and I was like, they're really showing us how they did it. And then this is where dissecting frogs comes in handy in my life because I thought that was pretty cool, and it was probably the only thing I showed interest in the class. I think in like sixth grade. So when I started doing the frog, my teacher was like, well, get into it, and this connects here, this lungs connect here, and I was like, oh, this is how it all works. And this is how you start learning how. I was like, oh, so when you put it all together, that's I actually lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're talking about Bowfinger. So I think the analogy with the frogs is like you got to see the HBO behind the scenes, and then you got to see a movie about like the HBO behind the scenes.
So I'm sorry, I remember exactly. The frog
that's
was
my
just,
best guess.
Yeah, no, the frog was like showing us like this is how the inside of a person is, and when you sew it up. Sorry, I totally brain farted. When you sew it up, that's how we look, and that's how it is. It's like this is how you get to this is how you connect everything. And then when I saw the HBO specials, I was like, oh, so that's how you make the movie come out. That's how you really just look at the lens and you pretend it's your eye and really, and then you just hear people talking and you're like, wow, like that's how they do it. Okay, and you just watch those movies, and then Bowfinger, it shows you like what a low budget director producer can do, and he just makes it happen. Like I don't really care, and that's what I like about my movie we did this weekend, like Clowning Around is the title. I like it because it's like I finished a project. I may have been 4 minutes late, but it was like I got something at the end of it. There's so many people that start these projects, these 48-hour film projects that don't get off the ground. They start making their movies, and then somewhere they fatigue. You get too tired. They fight. They don't know what they're doing. They fight. They run out of ideas. They fight. They fight a lot. People fight a lot.
So you're saying that they fight a lot?
Yeah, they fight. That's the main theme. I try to keep everything to a minimum. I try to keep everything controlled. The less people, the better. I'm finding out, and I didn't realize now that so I've been doing this since 2015. No, I've been doing this 2013 actually. So I'm already a 7-year vet. So I was like, wow, I got some stripes under my belt. I just haven't posted a lot of the stuff I make because I'm like, it sucks, but I think that's the point. It's supposed to suck, and then you find out from there how you get better. And that's what's up.
So I was going to say, using as few people as possible. That kind of ties into Clerks, man. I don't know if you noticed, man. A couple of people got reused, and
yes.
I saw that. And it was the first time that I noticed it, like watching Clerks. I had never noticed it before. But yeah, man, that may be the reusing of the characters, and I just thought that was really cool because I mean, like I said, unless you're just actually sitting there paying attention and like you could miss it if you weren't, What was it? His name's like Walter. He's in the Comic Book Man.
He played
in Clerks.
Clerks, yeah. Oh, the older guy.
Yeah. His name is Walter Flanagan. So I think he's around the same age as Kevin Smith and all them. But he was like I say, he was in that show Comic Book Man that Kevin Smith produced.
Yeah.
And everything. And he was the guidance counselor that was sitting there messing with the eggs and everything.
Okay.
And then like in the next scene, he was the guy who was getting offended whenever he was looking at the nudie magazine. Like, I mean, it was just like he was in one scene and he was in the exact next scene, and I was like, wow. I mean, and he had like this overcoat on and everything, and
Oh, okay, that's what
you
you're
know,
saying.
yeah,
I didn't catch that till now. I it did. I was like, I don't. I'm ignoring it. I didn't let it register. But you're right.
yeah,
Yeah, he does that. Man, Clerks was. I just it's like the writing for Clerks is amazing. For Clerks 2 as
yeah.
well. I didn't. I man. I've got to say, same thing happened with me with the syndrome of me thinking the sequel is gonna suck, and Clerks 2 did not.
No,
It really hit home. I will say that I do want to say this is the first time I've seen Clerks 2 all the way through.
really.
I don't think I've seen. I think I guess I've seen the clips. I've seen the scenes, but I haven't really seen the movie. And then when I put it all together right now, I was like, oh man, it got me. That last scene in Clerks 2. Oh yeah, remember spoilers, everybody. Welcome to Side by Side. We're here. We were discussing movies that we enjoy and we like to talk about. This week's topic is Kevin Smith. Before we move on, I would like to say that we did a short week last week. We did basically 2 in 1, and that was fun. That was
Yeah.
that was fun. So we're back on Sunday, so it's cool, and I'm glad we got to do Clerks. So we did a little Kevin Smith's I guess a home run hit or claim to fame, Clerks and Clerks 2. Well, Clerks was the one that made him. But I learned a lot from that movie. Reminded me a lot of Swingers, as in real life.
Hmm.
That it was in time. Like, I mean, it was before Swingers, but it was like a slice of life, like a portion of a movie of like people, just two guys, two people, just out of like all the things you have to deal with, you go through with like working at a convenience store. I like that in the number two that they kind of talked about. They sprinkled that all those topics back again. The same topics they kind of talked about in the first one, they kind of came back again in the second one. I did like how you kind of know the characters by now. I grew like liking Dante a lot, and then now that I got older, I grew to liking Randall. And the first one, Randall's character changes a little bit.
Yeah.
He's in the first one, he's kind of just the voice of reason in a way, but he doesn't over cross the line. Where in the second one, he's crossing the line.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff he says is trying to be offensive and he's trying to attack. Where in the other one, he's more on the defense, and in the first one, he's more on the defense. Where Dante's character is, and I didn't do any research, so I don't know if that's Kevin Smith himself or someone he knows or just someone he created. But the Dante character, the way he handles things, I feel it really spoke to a lot of people of that generation, or just like, oh, we're all going through something. It's not just you. You know, you're not the only one in this situation. Look, we're this is what we actually go through. Here in New Jersey, or like, and I love that. I love seeing that little like he got that little piece of time and he's like, here we go, we're gonna snip it, and it's just a beautiful movie. It really hit me hard a lot, on just like the stuff he goes through. The 36 dicks thing is funny, the way they keep bringing up
Dude,
the
yes.
jokes
In a row,
in a row.
like that was.
And it's just like a lot of that little backhanded humor where it's like, you're 37, yeah, you're 30, like, just like, the Jane Silent Bob characters are they're I understand why they're there. They're like
Oh man,
the anti-establishment guys.
dude. Whenever he kicked somebody, what was it? Randall kicked somebody out of the video store, and he like goes to yell at him outside the door, and Jay just goes, "Yeah!" And he's like, "You're never gonna rent it from here again." He goes, "Yeah," and dude, like just that little goofy stuff, man. Just like that's what makes those characters. Like that's what you want. That's why you want to see more of those characters, just because like they're. I mean, they're iconic without even having to do a whole lot.
That,
Like they
yeah.
dance around, and like you said, Silent Bob. I mean, he says what, two lines in the whole deal. And I was just looking at the poster that you have behind you, and I was like, who is that in the back behind Dante? And it's Kevin Smith, man. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't look anything like like I just think that's cool. This was a fantastic movie. I mean, it really was. Like for a movie to be, and just like it's just dialogue, honestly. Like
Yes.
there's not a whole lot of action, but there's enough scenes in there that are just like, kind of drop your jaw, that are just like, oh, okay. That's what it had, was a lot of really good dialogue, about what's going on in the lives, and like how to deal with things, and like deconstructing
All like
simple things like
yeah.
Empire and Return of the Jedi, like actually sitting and breaking that stuff down, it's hard to have conversations like that,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, goofy conversations that you take seriously. And
It,
it's hard to find people like Randall, that are willing to ask the stupid questions that, are they really that stupid? Uh, you know, uh, yeah, a fantastic movie, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I forgot how good it was. Whenever I watched it today, I was like, this is wonderful. Like, it's honestly, like, I wrote down on my paper, like, it's modern day Shakespeare. It
dude,
really is.
beautiful. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Um, yeah,
He
and so he just, and even the little things, like a semicolon on the sign, like who the hell would know the difference if you put a semicolon on the sign or not, and then just see, and it almost made, like, watching them back to back, excuse me, is honestly kind of made Clerks 2 a little bit more depressing.
Oh
you know
man,
just
no, yeah, yeah.
just seeing, like, somebody that like, whenever they're talking, they're saying, they're having actual conversations, they're using big words. I mean, they have good thoughts and are wanting to better themselves, and then you go 10 years later, oh, we're still doing the same thing. And honestly, dude, like I have written down here, it almost seems like Randall has become stupider since
Oh,
Clerks 2, like
yeah.
he mixed. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, everybody has a flub up, but then whenever he's like, uh, Anne Frank, is
Helen
blind
Keller,
as
yeah.
Anne Frank, he's like, no, that's Helen Keller. He's like, no, it's not, it's Anne Frank, and just stuff like that. So yeah.
I
That
think.
being said, go for it.
Well, I was gonna say, I think with definitely with Clerks, and then it really hits home because when I saw that movie when I was younger, it basically like looked at, I was like, well, that's a new way of making movies, and I thought that was just like cool. Like you don't really have to, like it showed like an element like dialogue, and they just ran with it. I mean, I think Kevin Smith was like, this is a fight. If I gotta do it, this is my only move I got, and I'm gonna come in with you hard. Because not only does he have like really good just interaction, the way he writes a female, I'm very impressed. Like how he can write a woman so strong, like Veronica, and or both, and like both Dante's women are like stronger than him.
Yeah.
And then he has two. He's a pretty weak guy. And even in Clerks 2, Randall, like, even tells him, like, even makes fun of his, your chud baby. You're gonna have, like, he's like, and how do you get? Even he calls out the obvious. How do you even get two hot girls like over you? Like, and it's just funny how with the Dante's character, like, he can't make a decision, but the decision to have like two women over him is like, you know, it's a good thing for him. I don't know. Maybe it makes him seem like he's a vulnerable, like, loser kind of guy, or
So I actually have something on that, dude. I have a thesis on why Dante acts the way he does with women.
all
All
right,
right. So
go
he
for it.
he dated. Oh gosh, I didn't even write down the name. What is it? Christine? No,
Caitlin,
no. Who? Caitlin. Caitlin.
yeah,
Yes. Sorry, Caitlin. So he dated Caitlin back in high school, right? So pretty much his first love. Like, they dated for 5 years, all this other stuff, and she was constantly cheating on him, right?
yeah,
So, you're young, your mind's getting molded and everything. Maybe he thinks he has to cheat on the woman, that he's with before it happens to him. Like, almost get the upper hand, and
oh, white
he's
white cheats, white won't take the other girl serious.
exactly, like, he has a good thing with Veronica, somebody who is like Jay points out, he's like, she's bringing you lunch, like, she moved
Yeah,
closer to home to be with you. Like, are you an idiot?
yeah,
Like, this girl cares about you, and you're worried about this other girl who cheated on you like 8 different times, you know.
man,
And then you see him doing the same thing, in Clerks 2. I mean, not to say that Emma is really probably the person he needs to be with or anything like that, but he has a good thing. Somebody who's wanting to at least better him,
He
or what she thinks should be better for him. Because I mean, like they say, I mean, he can't make a decision, so she's sitting there just making decisions for him,
yeah.
and he's like, all right, yeah, I can get on board with this, but he still does the same things he's doing, man. He hasn't changed, but he has somebody making his decisions for him,
Yeah, yeah, and I what you saying that right there really makes me think about that. What a note on both of these, it's time. Like time passes, with it, regardless whether you want it or not. It's gonna, and this is you getting older, and I like that they show that. And he's like, man, they really, man, the Randall character, they really like expose him really bad, like the like messing around with young girls and just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
but it's not. When I say expose, it's because there are a lot of guys like that, like
Hmm.
you're waiting tables, like
30-year-old guys that are
yeah, yeah,
just like,
oh
oh
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
look at that
45, yeah,
18-year-old,
yeah, like there, I'm
you
like,
know.
oh, I don't blame him, man. If you can get him, like, go for it, or whatever you can get, it's legal, go
Well,
for it. But my thing is, I don't, I like growth, I guess, and I don't know, whatever. I'm not trying to compare, but there's a lot of people like that, and like I related a lot to, like Clerks 2 hits me hard, and I don't think it would have hit me as hard as now than if I would have saw like if I would have saw in 2006, but like it did get me, like it got me. I did tear up at the end. I'm not gonna be ashamed. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna be ashamed of my tears. No, but I did hit me at the end when they finally get the idea. Like we should open the store. Like, he had the idea the whole time. He was just like around those two chickens to do it. So being a waiter for 9 years, close to 10, like a decade doing that, like service industry stuff, you really feel like you're trapped. But I think the way I did it was I projected myself. And I was like, all right, this life thing just kind of loops itself. So you just got to be ready for when it keeps coming back around and prepare yourself. It's everything you want. It's going to come back again. Just be prepared. So kind of program myself a little bit like that. But watching these two characters have to go through their life, it like reminds you like it does. And I think Kevin Smith really does know how to like drill that writing right into us. All from his like the strong females he has with the pathetic dudes, but that they have like a coolness to them. Like I think Randall's a cool loser. And the first one, he's just Randall. I think you accept that because he's 22. But when he's
Yeah.
33 and doing that, you're like, dude, you're like loser. You're loser Randall. And you like that ending that they give you in Clerks 2 because it does give you like a solid, like, oh, these guys are safe. We don't need a third one. Like they're saved. Like this is it. We know that they're gonna go. And I think they made like an animated series after this or sometime in between or something.
I
That they
think it
had.
was in between. Yeah, I looked it up earlier. It was 2000 and 2002 is when they had the Clerks animated series.
Yeah, so they did it. So it wasn't really like they were gone. They kind of just went through, I guess, like adventures or whatnot. But like really really feeling like I can relate to that, and I that's just one of these slice for like life, slice of life movies that I really can just be like, man, like they're good movies. But as a filmmaker, director, whatever you want to call it, a guy that appreciates that, like I'm like I could take a lot from it. I mean, they just have scenes of it's like like in the black and white, it's in darkness, and I do remember. I think seeing Kevin Smith say on an interview saying he's like I couldn't get the lights to work, so I had to go in black and white, but it works, like it works perfect, it works beautifully. And just I mean, like when they dance, like they just start dancing, and sometimes they dance at night and you can't even see them dancing, but it works for
Yeah.
the shot. Like it gives it like it's just simple storytelling.
Yeah, man. And like you said, it's crazy how much a good script can really carry a movie because, yeah, like you don't have color in this. I mean, this is made in the 90s. I mean, it's not like color is out of the question. Like you said, boy, you said he couldn't get the lights right. That's why
Yeah,
he
he
went to
couldn't
black
get
and
the
white.
yeah. That's why he went to black and white. Because back then you have to gauge. It was tungsten lights a lot, so it's heat and everything. So you have to always be aware of like what you were shooting because it would pick it up. So the
Mhm.
lighting, because I remember when I do film, I hated it, man. It was like took forever to set the shots up. And with this one, I think he was saying that he couldn't get the lights to work, and he only had a $30,000 budget, I believe, and he basically just maxed out credit cards, and he couldn't get stuff to work, so he just improvised, just went with it. And because I remember one of my professors at ACC, one of the ones I liked in the RTF, Clay. He was a shout out to Clay. He said that like things are just gonna happen, and when Clerks came out, that everybody knows that problems are gonna happen. Just buckle through it. If you have to max out your credit cards, max them out. So Clay said him and like everybody else at that time that saw that movie at like Sundance went and did the same thing, and they all went and just started like renting equipment and trying to make movies on their own, and they just couldn't figure it out. But I was like, well, this guy kind of it was a script. He poured his soul into it. He took what was around him, and he was able to put it on paper, and he was able to put it on cinema, and I love it. I appreciate it now that's in black and white. I'm happy that he made that decision. I'm happy that he decided to go with that, because it makes it makes it feel like this is a 90s movie. It will always be a 90s movie. And now it's like, you know, like you said, it could have been in color, and I don't think I want to see this movie like horrible, like maybe like badly lit. I like just the black and white.
Me too.
Yeah, it's cool, right? Like it gives it.
It really is.
Because I thought
it gives it. It's almost like you can focus on the characters more.
Yes.
You know, you don't have anything to distract you. I mean, you're not looking at like, oh, what's over there in the back, or you. It can be easy to get distracted in movies sometimes, and with the black and white, man, you're just like, okay, well, this is. In your mind, you're just like, this is a low budget movie. I mean, if you see it in black and white, I mean, that's just what your mind. So you focus more on the characters. At least that's the way it kind of made me feel. And I'm just kind of coming up with that now. We're actually kind of talking about it.
And then you're right. And I think like just to kind of do the whole, the dialogue, the way things are. I mean, it's a small town and everybody kind of knows everybody. And I kind of feel like that for my small town too. When you go back home and you're like, oh, you know, so-and-so was hanging out with so-and-so. Oh, okay. And you get the feel for just like everything doesn't really change. It's a small town, you know, and it's the same people doing the same thing. It's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Or, I mean, you're doing the same thing in the big city. So it's not like you're not doing the same thing. You know, it's like, but I do like the relationships that Dante does have with everybody. And I like that he kind of carries a care for everybody without like over caring. I mean, even he's on the floor, painting his nails with his girlfriend. You know, Veronica's nails. I think he can't commit with her because he really doesn't want to be with her.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's hung up.
Yeah, and he wants to be with Caitlin, and I think the fact that she left him is the real reason why he can't get over it. He can't move on.
I think subconsciously he knows that she's good for him, but he can't, like you said, like I think this is what you're about to see, that he can't admit that he wants to be with Veronica. And funny enough, man, I wrote this down too. I think that's kind of like a tick for him, or a tell for Dante, is painting the nails, because he does that with Rosario Dawson too.
That's true. That's true.
And so I think that just shows like that's his sign of affection, you know, like that's who he really truly cares about. But either he just can't admit it to himself, or, you know, he doesn't feel like they're going to reciprocate or something like that, man. Like I said, I feel like he has a lot of insecurities, and it all kind of comes back to Caitlin. I mean, I think not, it can't all be her, but I think that is a driving factor of why Dante is the way he is, at least with his women.
I mean, all the little characters, all the interactions, even the dude that like talking about, what's it, the guy, he's all like, I'm like, he's all buff, like the trainer guy.
Oh yeah.
That guy, even that little scene is funny. Like everything just goes around. Oh, you're Rick, whatever. His name's Rick, I believe. Like, and he goes like, you're that guy. Like and this is back before Facebook. This is before like all that stuff. So this is just like word just got around, and then everyone's just kind of doing it right there, like kind of just socializing and kind of getting the everyone's like kind of dirt on each other, and they're already older, they're out of high school, so high school drama shouldn't be an issue, but it's still high school drama.
Yep.
I mean, you get it with the writing. If you're a filmmaker, you'll totally love this. If you're just a regular a fan for movies, you'll totally love it. If you want to kind of understand a little bit more about life, or just like at this point in time in life, you'll love it. But I mean, this is a great movie. I have nothing but good things for both these movies. Kevin Smith is one of my favorite just people in general. I follow him on like Facebook, and I just watch his videos and watch his movies and keep up with him. I have one of his books. I haven't finished reading it. Actually, I only read like a 2 or 3 pages into it, and I was like, oh, I like it. And I put it to the side and never picked it back up. But I have it
done
there.
That with a couple books.
I got a lot of books like that, but I'm like, I'll get back to this one eventually. Maybe this will spark it, or just at least let me like finger read it. Even the everything comes back. Everything comes back in the day. It's kind of it's a good day, but it's also because even there's a little girl that he buys the cigarettes from. He sells like Randall does that, and he even sticks up for him. Oh, okay, so like even so when Randall was picking on Dante after Caitlyn comes back because he's like you can't there's nothing you can say that can hurt that can bother me, and then he also does it with Elias in the second one. Like he's like I'm in a good mood. I like the way that that Kevin Smith captures that because I'm definitely one of those people. If I am in a good mood and something bad or whatever something awful happens or something just then odd, I just kind of like I don't care. I'm in a good mood. Like something generally like put me in this position, so I'm gonna stay like this. I'm not gonna let anything get to me. And I like that he kind of captures that in the Dante character. You can kind of see it, like he's happy. It is kind of like I don't know why we do this to ourselves. I don't know why as human beings, but I know a lot of people that I grew up were like this, and even now I'm getting older. I still meet people like this. Then I don't think I should be meeting people at my age, but like going back to an ex,
yeah,
like that was what he really captures. Like he was with her what 6 years or something like that. And
yeah, 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years, and they broke up, and he couldn't get through it. Like he couldn't figure it out. And also,
it's been 3 years since they had seen each other, right?
Maybe going,
Yeah.
and then she's not happy with that other guy, and like it's crazy how they write the other person, Ying or Yen. They write him like as a great guy. Zhang, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Yeah. They write him as a great person, but you never see him. You never get because she doesn't care about him. She's not with him. She's there. She doesn't want to get married, and that's another thing. Like he's in the second one, he doesn't want to get married. I mean, he's gonna get married. He's not scared of married, but he's scared of marrying the wrong person. So it still has a marriage like vow behind the movies. All the little characters from the first one I like. The lady that looks for the milk, that goes to the milk. She makes an appearance in the second one too. I thought that was nice. I mean, it's just like a twisted ending too, where Caitlyn kind of, hooks up with that old dead guy.
Yeah,
like how they do their thing.
And dude, it's like that's what I love about that movie too. Is like something that you would just almost write off comes back and it's like a total plot. Not even. It's like a twist, maybe. I don't even know. Like definitely a shocker.
I love
like you said. Oh yeah, like I love.
I love how you said it. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you.
No.
How he made that character very annoying. Hey, yes. And it's only that one scene, and he sticks to he makes it kind of engraved. Like I like the way Kevin Smith like does that. The way he sells it to you, like he like ingrains it, and you're like, this guy, just don't forget about this guy. Don't forget about this guy. He's gonna come back later. And then when he does come back, you're like, why can't she just hook up with somebody And I was like, well, she is a slut, so I guess she just met somebody, and then I realized, oh, the freaking dude, she had sex with him, and then I forgot that he died, and he had just died with a rager, so she just slept with a dead person, but it messed with her. And then that guy gets in the ambulance with her. That guy that she kind of, I guess that Veronica messed around with.
Yeah, it's the William the Idiot Man-Child is his name.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, there's people like that.
He's just up there staring. Oh, he's one of the 37.
Yeah, he's one of the 37. She messed around with him.
Snowballing.
Yeah, he likes that.
Yeah.
Oh, and you learn. Sorry, you learn stuff from Kevin Smith. He brings stuff from the weird. Sorry. He brings something like some fun stuff that he brings from like the internet or just kind of puts it in cinema. Like that was one, the snowballing, and then the ass to mouth conversation.
Yeah,
is that one?
I'm gonna get back to Clerks, man. So it was funny whenever he mentioned, what was it, one of Dante's ex-girlfriends that had died. I can't for the life of me remember her name. But
they even say it in 2. I forgot what her name was.
I know, man. I can't remember. But anyway, Randall says, "Oh, dude, you've had sex with a dead person," and then later on in the movie,
oh yeah, foreshadowing.
Caitlyn does that, like a little bit of foreshadowing, and like you just, it's funny because the first time around you're just like, oh wow, that's kind of a profound thought. And then the second time you see it happen, you're like, oh my God, that's just terrible. Like it's like, oh man, like that's a little too literal. And I just thought that was interesting.
I think because it's funny. I don't know if he's really trying to be a comedian. I mean, a comedy, but it's too. I don't think he was trying to go for these like hits, but they hit hard. The guy with the cigarettes in the beginning, that's funny. It's like, yeah, you know what? This is a Yulong. Look at that.
You mind if I drink this here? Like gets him right there, dude. He's like, yeah, sure. Like that's Dante's problem, man. He'll just let people do what they want, and then
Well,
it comes back to bite them in the ass.
well, he has good judgment in people. Like, oh, well, I don't think you're gonna do anything bad, and they screw him over every time. I do like
Mhm.
that guy with the gum because they find out what's his motive, what's his perk. Hey man, he works for the gum company. He's just there to sell
and
more
and it
gum.
and it takes Veronica to figure that out. You know, she's
Oh,
like,
that's
"What are
right.
you
That's
even
right.
doing here?" You know, she's the one who. It's like you said. I mean, he's I guess maybe attracted to strong women. She sticks up for him, and like,
Oh
is
yeah,
the one who
dude.
kind of leads that angry
Strong,
mob away.
strong female leads. Kevin Smith. If you need a
Mhm.
strong female lead, have Kevin Smith write her. He can write a woman. Like that's like I like that they're smart, they're edgy, they're strong, and don't mess with them. But he captured that they like the pathetic guy because you always gotta they always got a soft
Some
spot for him.
somebody that you can improve. You know,
Yes, yes.
somebody with potential.
Did you hear that? I don't know. Did you hear that? I mean, I also wanted to talk about in Clerks just the friends. Hey, can we get Gatorade? Can we get Gatorade?
He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, give me a Gatorade." I can't. It's all gone. I know it is. Like he's just like,
Don't go. You can't. Don't stop. Go all the way, man. Don't go. Don't stop at 9 or something. If you're gonna get in trouble, go all the way. Like he's like, oh, that's
exactly, man.
horrible,
And
horrible
then you
friends.
you have yeah, you do have people like that, dude. And even the first scene in Clerks, man, where you just like you, it was just so relatable to me. I mean, like I said, been in the food service industry for oh, I was in it for 8 years at
There
Domino's,
you
man.
go.
It wasn't any fine dining or anything like that, but good God Almighty, you still have people that are
That's a grind,
uh,
bro.
yeah, it really is. Man, like getting called in, right after you close too. Like that is totally something that has happened to me before. And it's like, yeah, I'll be there. And more times than not, they do like I was lucky enough that I would have people that if they said they were going to be there, yeah, they were there. But I mean, there were times where they were just like, hey, I can't come in today and stuff like that. So you knew you were just like you were there.
Yeah.
So dude, and just that whole thing where yeah, it was just totally relatable. I was like, man, I've been in that position before, just being, come, why the hell is he in that closet? That's, the dog's sleeping on the bed and he's in the damn closet. Like, did you just get hammered last night after you got off work? I mean, you are 22. It makes
Yeah,
sense, but
yeah. The God,
are you
man.
going to get drunk by yourself? I mean, hell, at least get stoned by yourself. That's a little bit better.
Clerks, it really captures. Yeah, it captures that. I hated that, man. You're right. I remember being like, okay, look, I don't. It says on the schedule I have Thursday off. That's not gonna happen, and because this person's scheduled to work, and I know they're gonna call in, and they're gonna tell me I'm gonna call like at 1. All right,
Hmm.
and then I know Sunday, yeah, I'm gonna have to go in for brunch, so I'm gonna work all day Sunday because I know this person's gonna call in, this person's gonna call in because it's Saturday. All right, I'm ready, and that's just kind of how I. And they people like, oh no, make plans. I'm like, I'm not making any plans because I know you're gonna call me and you're gonna be please, 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 and then I'm gonna show up and then you're gonna shit all over me. So I'm just gonna
Yep.
wait a little bit.
It
I mean,
wasn't until you put your foot down, be like, I'm not coming in. That's the only time that you didn't go in. Like you could be like you could be that person if you needed to. But yeah.
I learned a lot from a lot the way the back of the house was where I was at. It was like a oiled machine, so you didn't want to lose your spot because if they brought someone else in, you wouldn't get that spot back, and the positions play different hourly, so a lot of people would just kind of be scared, and some people would like be like, they always be like, I'm gonna quit, and they'd be like, well, there's the door, and they'd be like, okay,
Hmm.
no, I'm gonna stay, and they're like, nah, go when you think like that, you gotta go. If you don't go, you're gonna get stuck, and it's weird how even like the back of the house kind of mind culture is different from the front of the house in a restaurant. The waiters are different from the cooks. They still get stuck. You both get stuck there with the same like it's the same quicksand. It's a different beast, but it's the same kind of arena. And I like that he shows that in there, and you can see that in Clerks, there's no rush. There's no hurry in the movie.
Hmm.
There's no push. You're just we're in a different scene. The words were throwing me off a lot because I was like okay, it's just kind of it's kind of a chapter. You're kind of reading it like in a book. So
Yeah.
that's how you kind of have to like look at it, and that's what that's how I was looking at it, and I was like, man, this is nice. Like, okay, getting ready for another scene, getting ready for new characters, new people. I'm gonna have to watch it again, like you said, about the recurring characters, because I didn't really I didn't really click. And now what you're saying, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to really know who's doing that, because I look at Clerks for two different reasons. I mean, through two different eyes. Like, I see it as when I first saw it, where I was just amazed by like the simplicity and just the nice, um, the dialogue. But now I do really like it, because I'm like, I want to learn how you can make a Clerks like that. But I mean, not the money part of it, but like how to make this like an art piece. I feel like it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't really. It's a movie, but like if you were to if you were to make a Mona Lisa video, this would be her kind of thing. Like, um, the way, just from the acting, the directing, the angles, I think I remember even hearing him saying like, yeah, we use a lot of tripods, so yeah, there's a lot of shots, but even at that, it's he's like, it's, who cares, like it works, like if you can really sell the acting. He talks, I mean, it talks about like the good old times and the old people when they say something. There's that guy returning a video, I think, and he talks about it.
Hmm.
That's a good scene there. I mean,
Yeah.
Randall just the way he is, showing up 30 minutes late for work. That chick's waiting
Like,
for him.
oh,
He sees her like,
I was 10 to 15 minutes late.
yeah,
You know, that at the end of the movie. Yeah, but that chicken, he bets her like $20 that she's
yeah,
not gonna be able to rent that movie. Yeah.
yeah. He's like, rent it. I want to watch it, but he works there, like, but he is kind of like what you get out of out of an employee. Like, I would like to say that the times are different, but no, there's a lot of Randalls. Because of Randall,
Yeah.
there's probably a lot more Randalls. But it just happens, people have their certain way of working. Um, what I got from the personalities from Dante and Randall, were that, kind of, Dante's kind of like the youth, or the not the youth, but the innocence of kind of growing up. Where I feel where Randall is more of a dad, more
Yeah.
of a dad figure in the first one. Like, he's more of your dad. Like, he knows what to say. He just kind of talks. I don't know. This is gonna get me tear jerky, because it's the best friend movie. This is a good best friend movie, what friends really
Yeah.
do for each other. And you have the Dante getting information, just blurring it right out to Randall, because he feels like Dante can't hold on to it. And I've been in both of those situations, and I know how it feels to be. I want to tell somebody something, but I don't want to. I don't want to let it out, but I can't trust anybody. And then you have that one person you can trust to, and you go and tell them. You're like, okay, look, I just got to tell you this. I like that shows more, I guess, in a weak way, Dante. And I'm figuring out that he can't even hold on to information, because it's too much for him, and how he can't handle things. He's like a fragile. Where Randall's more the realist, and that's why I say that, like a father, because he's kind of like, I don't care. It's gonna happen. It's gonna break. It's gonna break. If you're gonna love me, you're gonna love me. If you're gonna hate me, you're gonna hate me. And he just kind of keeps going, and kind of his logic is very, very primitive and basic, but you don't really
Yeah.
get it. You get it when he's 22. It's cool. Like, it seems like, oh, no one's really 22 like that, and he's a little bit more mature, kind of, in a way, but he's very like vulgar. But who cares? He's interested in things, he's open to things. He'll talk about a lot of stuff. But when he's 33, it's different. Like, it's the same guy. I don't really want to jump into Clerks 2 yet. I still want to talk about Clerks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got just so many good characters to it. The Jay and Silent Bob guys, like, they really, like, just, they break up that slow pace. That's why I love that they're there. They're like the fragment. They're like the shake. Like, every time they come in, Jay's gonna say something like ridiculous, and Kevin Smith is just gonna be there to be like egg him on, and then that's their version of best friendship. Like they need each other too. They're real good friends. So that's pretty funny to watch. Like, there's all these like buddies in it. I like the roof scene where they're playing hockey and they only get to play for 12 minutes. Like, I would do that for basketball back in the day. If someone would be like, "Hey, can we see hoops?" I'm like, "Let's do it. We got time." I'll be pissed if we only play a 10-minute game. But
Well, dude, and another thing too is like, as soon as he gets up there and starts playing with him, like after he knocks the ball off, it's like that's so totally obvious, man. Like he totally played Dante. And you don't see it coming. I mean, you really don't. Like, you kind of almost forget. You're like, all right, this guy's just up there bullshitting. Like, he's gonna show him what's what, and he just knocks the ball. He's like, it's, how many balls did you bring? Oh, I thought this guy brought the balls. Only we have one. He was like, I had the orange ball and the orange ball. Like, dude,
But
and like you were saying about like Randall and Dante, like their relationship, man. Like, he couldn't even stop from telling Randall that Veronica, suck 37 dicks, and he's over
Well,
there slurping when she gets there. And you're totally right, man. You have friends that are just like, they can't retain that information, and they just like they have to comment about it because you aren't going to say anything.
mhm.
Like it's you're right in that aspect of there. He's protecting him by making these jokes and making fun of him and stuff like that. But it's almost like he's protecting Dante.
Yeah, and the when the reason I also said the father part in Randall is because him and Veronica, he just tells her, he's like, I know he can't tell you, so he thinks he's doing the proper thing,
Yeah.
and he ends up. I mean, you shouldn't really interfere in people's relationships, even if they kind of drag you in. You still don't really interfere. In my opinion, just to stay clean.
Yeah.
But with him, he thought he'd have be the do the thing that Dante couldn't do, and that shows you don't make decisions for your friends. Man,
Hmm.
this is such a good best friends movie. Like have a good buddy film.
Yeah.
Um, it, what's up?
One thing that Randall said that really kind of hit home is like, this job would be great if it wasn't for the customers. Like,
Yes.
man, he nails it, dude. Like that's what I feel like almost every service person thinks at one point in time.
It's,
Like, but I mean, it would be nothing without the customers. Like when you really boil it down. But it's just like you have that thought. It's like, man, this would just be a great day if I could just do my stuff and go home. And honestly, what it boils down to is just not even a regular job, but just having a more monotonous job, I guess. Because like
yeah,
whenever you're like whether you're a clerk, I mean, look at that. What happens in one day? I mean,
that's
he
true. It's a
sees
lot.
so much stuff. Like, and that's just one day in the life of Dante.
Yeah,
I'm sure not all are going to be like as eventful, but
yeah.
it happens, man. It does. There's some days you see a lot of crazy stuff, and then you know, good for a while, and then you just get it get it some more. But yeah,
Dude,
what was
that
it?
what would you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I was about to say the dead guy too is like before he died. Spoiler, sorry. He's like there's Dante, like he's trying to be nice to this customer, like you said, this older gentleman. He's just like, oh, come on, Sonny boy, like
Oh
I
God,
can't,
yes.
like I'm kind of incontinent. Like he plays that, dude. Like I've had that happen to me before too. Like people just push you and push you and push you until and you're just gonna. I mean, you might as well let them get away with it now. I mean, you've already pretty like you've already played hockey on the roof. You might as well take all the Gatorades. You might as well let the guy take the porno magazine in the bathroom and just go for it.
Dude, that just connected a
Um,
dot. I'm like, God, but it's for Clerks 2 and Clerks, but we're still on Clerks. But while you just telling me that, just connected something in my head.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
but what we were saying about work, man, is it is funny how I'm not one of those guys. I'm one of those people like we're at work, let's get over it. My thing is like if we're dead, let's go home. I don't want to. There's nobody here. We should go home. I don't want to waste manpower, waste time. Let's just be obvious. We're not making any money just standing here. But I used to have coworkers that they're complaining for the first because dinner shift you have to wait till people show up. You guys get dark, and first 2 hours, 2.5 hours, just complaining about there's nobody here. I can't make money. I gotta make. And you hear that, and then all of a sudden people show up like, oh, why are people showing up? People need to leave. Like, what do
yep.
you want? You want feast or famine? What the hell's going on over here? Like, I don't get it. Like, that's it. We close at it's 8:30. We close at 9. Tell everybody we're closed. We need to get out of here. I was like, chill. It's a restaurant. Like you're kind of paying for people to kind of hang out. And it does. It really brings it to where work is work. He's not really working. That's another thing. Randall doesn't really work. He's supposed to be working. He's not making any money for the business. He
Dude,
messes
and
up the
whenever
sales.
whenever he's oh sorry. Oh yeah, no, he has numerous people like, I'm never gonna come here again. Both of them do. I mean, they're
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll never come back to this business too. But one scene I wrote down was whenever he was ordering those porno movies, whenever that mom and daughter were there, he's like,
Yeah,
oh, what was that you said? Like, dude, that's like a perfect joke, like
yeah,
it's just yeah, and it almost kind of got reused in Dodgeball. One of my favorite moments in that movie is whenever he has the video store call his place, and he's like, "Yeah, Mr. LaFleur, we have a couple of videos out that we need to have returns. Like, we have Drekken Hussies 3, Backdoor Patrol 4, and Mona Lisa Smile. Thank you." And dude, I love that line. Like, it's so simple, but it's so damn funny.
Dude, I remember my friends would leave messages like that. Like they had older brothers. They'd be like, "Who you talking to?" It's like, "Let me get that." Oh, he didn't answer. He gave me that. All right, this is Blockbuster calling, or no, it was like that was Blockbuster. This is Blockbuster calling that it's overdue. And they would do like make up like dirty names and then hang up. But it'd be like on the family answering machine. But it was like the guy did like I was like, oh, I just saw. I remember I think it was Braden Greer's brother do that to him. I was like, whoa, I just saw like your brother just did that to you, and he hung up the phone, so you couldn't like erase the message. Like, so I was always like, that's a good prank. Older brothers, I don't have one. I'm an older brother, so I had to kind of hold down the fort with the pranks, even though like.
Man, yeah, I just got made fun of. I was called Cutie Ben there for a while, just because. Yeah, I was. Well, I only had my mom for the first 10 years of my life, man. So I had a little bit of getting that masculine side once. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's a little bit into the life of Ben Garrett there. Good old Cutie Ben.
Ben.
That'll be enough of that, though. It'll never be talked about again.
Whenever you want to share, we're here. We're listening though. Whenever you want to share, you can share that with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll come in for a therapy session next week, and we'll just have a great talk about.
Oh God, all that. That's good. Yeah, man. I'm basically, if I was a coffee drinker, this is where I'd be drinking my coffee, doing my therapy, being like, oh, I love running on 8 hours of sleep for 3 days. That's my favorite. I love it.
Oh, but man,
I think I have to respect Clerks more and more, because when you're going through that grind of work like that, it does feel kind of, like you said, monotonous. It doesn't feel rewarding, but you got to understand you're learning as you're going. And even if you don't really gather anything, you have all these scenarios built in that you've went through and you've kind of survived. They're little, I guess, life battles. Like, I mean, we think that working in an office is different. It's the same thing. They just have their version. I found that out when I started working in an office. I was like, what? These problems do exist here? I was like,
but you get the weekends off. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, then you work in the restaurant so long and you get the weekend off. And you're like, well, I need to do something. Like, it's Saturday and I'm at home. Why am I not working? Why am I not picking? Dude, I catch myself like nowadays, like cleaning up and stuff like restaurant, because I miss it. Like the muscle memories there. But what I was saying about Clerks is you really get that sense of work. That sense of like, it doesn't feel like you're really doing anything, but he captures like, look what all this stuff that goes on during your day. Like, you don't realize that life itself is beautiful. Like, just that's what I get out of this movie too. Not being like, a lot of people just being scared to make a decision, wanting to go forward. Just failure. This movie really gets me with, you think you're a failure, but you can't be a failure if you don't attempt things, if you don't fail. So you're more of a never was, I guess, or I don't know, but that's what it shows you. Like, I think with Clerks, like all the time that passes, all the things you go, all the interesting conversations, all the characters, the Jay and Silent Bob, the old guy, just they all are impactful. Every person on that screen is important. They all bring something to it, even if it's not just the way of making. There's some people that act that they're kind of doing a bad job, but you let it slide. There's a few people in there that are bad, but I did like that scene of the guy being like, open this door and get cigarettes. Like, that's all they do is smoke cigarettes. Everybody smokes cigarettes. Like, you keep capture that. Like, everybody just pack of cigarettes. And that's kind of cool in Clerks too. The first thing they sell is like cigarettes, So it's like he keeps bringing everything back in circles. Like, this is modern day Shakespeare. He does. I could see Kevin Smith with a feather and an ink and just writing away. He knows how to capture it, man. He really knows how to just look at something, and you see his energy on what he is now. Like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, that'd be cool to work with that guy. What's up?
Right. No. So at the end of Clerks 2, what you just mentioned, that was actually the guy I was talking about earlier. The egg guy and all that. Yeah. It was the same dude. Like I said, comic book man. I think they've probably been friends for a while. Another one thing. I have written down here about Randall is like, he pushes you until you give in, and then he chastises you for what you believe in. You
Yeah.
know, like he does that numerous times to Dante. It's just like he what was it? Whenever he's talking about sucking your own dick, or that guy, like his cousin,
Yeah. Well,
that,
even
you know,
they bring that joke back too. What was the worst thing you
yeah,
ever
at
seen? The
the
guy,
end,
yeah, guy
yeah,
trying to suck his own dick.
yeah, and but like he was like, at first Dante's just like, no, I've never tried that, and then he was like, oh, well, I just never could reach, and then Dante's like, what you or Randall's like, what, you did that, you fucking pervert,
Yeah.
like it just like
He
he's
traps
like, oh,
you.
that's you, yeah, he traps you, like he's like, oh yeah, that's just universal, everybody does that, and then he finally admits to it, he's like, ugh, are you serious, like, you know, like he just does stuff like that.
He's like a son of a
um
bitch kind of friend. Yeah, you son of a bitch. You got me there. I mean, when they fight
yeah,
at the end, Clerks, they get in that they fight like they get into it with each other, and they're so good of best friends that they're like are like so I'll see you tomorrow. Like they already know like it's not the end of the world. Like we're still gonna see each other, we're still best friends. Like you know, because he doesn't really apologize. He doesn't really have
no,
to. You know, he just I'm your friend. You accept that, and I love that about this movie. It's like that's what friends are. Like I know I did. If you're my friend, I know what you're capable of doing. I know we share stuff, but you know, if I know my friend shouldn't be doing something, I'll be like, "Yo, are you sure?" You know, if they do it, I'm like, either way, they did it, and that's my friend. I know him, so or they expect
yep,
me that they see me and they're like, CJ does that. I don't care. He's my friend. Like I like that's what I. It's like judgment free zone.
yeah, sorry man, I'm looking over my notes again. um Poor Dante, man, he makes that big old sign that says, I assure you we're open. um
The whole
and then
camp.
all day, the whole damn day, people just come in, are you open, are you open, like, did you not read the damn sign? Like it's not like it's small either. Like that's the crazy thing
Well, they
about it.
bring up the shoe polish. The whole movie they bring it
Yeah,
up. Who brings like shoe
even
polish?
the detective is like, yeah.
Shoe
Was
polish.
it was it in this movie, or did I just hear it recently that women would make great detectives? Oh no, I think it was in something else. I think it was like some comedy
Yeah.
sketch I heard. But I thought maybe if it was in this movie, that's probably why he had that woman as the detective, which is odd because you normally don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, normally it's like a man taking down notes and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So kind of going back to what you said about, strong women characters.
He knows how to write it,
Um,
man. I would
yeah,
definitely look for Kevin Smith to write my female leads, man. Makes them so authentic, so real. They pop. They're not, and they're
um,
not they're lovable too. They're vulnerable.
yeah.
There's it's a give or take. You know, I'm gonna give you this. You're gonna take this.
It's
What's up?
it's not like a Marvel superhero,
Oh no, yeah,
kind of deal where you see an Infinity War, you see all the women come together, kind of thing. He doesn't write them like that. It's like you said, it's believable. It totally works. Um, I always like writing down scenes that really make me kind of laugh out loud
which
and
ones?
really get to me. Um, Whenever, oh God, this is probably terrible too, but I don't even care. It's whenever Caitlin comes out of the bathroom and she's just like all enamored and everything. She's just like, oh wow, that was great. And Dante, they slowly figure out like it wasn't Dante that she had sex with,
Yeah,
and then he's like, well, somebody just went in there and raped her, and Reynolds just comes back, well, she did all the work, like
yeah,
that, just like she just like she just explains the whole thing, and then that's his first
yeah.
logical thing to logical, but yeah, first thing to say. You know, Another thing that I really like too, and honestly, this part didn't make me laugh out loud or anything, but whenever he was talking about the conversation he had with his mom, where he shit his pants whenever he
Oh
couldn't get
God,
the lid
yeah.
open, he's like, and honestly, I was just like, man, I'd what was it? He said something about shitting comfortably. That's what I wrote down, was shitting comfortably, but yeah. Oh, that's what it was. He'd rather shit uncomfortably than make a disturbance or something of that nature. And I was just like, wow, that was a really good line. Like
Yeah, it's a,
just like I said, modern day Shakespeare, man.
that
Like
that
just
little
the
line. That
way,
well, the way he delivered
yeah,
it, the way he told the story, the way he wrote it, it carries a lot of weight. But continue. I like where you're going.
yeah. And then the last thing that Jay says is, "What's a good plate with nothing on it?" and I could just see like a fancy plate and all this other stuff, a plate that you put up on the shelf and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then he's like, well, what's a plate worth if you don't have any food on it or you don't have anything of substance in it,
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a pretty good little quote too. Um, I have written down here idyllic relationship. I guess that's about Dante and like Veronica and Caitlin. He has his own version of what he thinks a relationship should be. And it's just so warped, man. He can't see a good one right in front of him.
But I think he wants to play the blind eye, like I said. I think Dante likes
Yeah,
like it's weird because he's a lot of people's voice.
yeah,
At that, especially at that time, but I feel like it still relates to, it's relatable nowadays. But if you don't want to make a decision, or if things just come, they want the easy life in a way. It's like, they
yeah.
want it easy. They want to do their own thing.
Well, here's
Um,
a question I'll pose to you, man. Like, if
what's up?
he didn't get caught in either one of those situations in Clerks 1 or Clerks 2, I mean, that would have, first off, drastically changed the story. But, I mean, do you think he would have stayed with Veronica if he
He would.
if Randall hadn't told on him? Because, like I said, Randall was pretty much saying, is like, you just want to break up with her. Like, that's what you're just trying to say. You just won't do it,
if
Like,
if if Caitlin's what, if like what?
oh, sorry. Do you like, okay? So if Randall had never talked to Veronica um, about Caitlin, like saying that he had been in touch with her and like all this other stuff, pretty much broke up with
Yeah,
Veronica
yeah.
for Dante. I mean, do you think he would have stayed with her, kind of thing? I mean, that and even in Clerks too. I mean, if Becky wasn't pregnant, if she didn't have his child, if all this stuff wasn't going on and he didn't get caught, I mean, would he have gone? I mean, that's kind of the moral dilemma you have with Dante is, yeah, like you said, he's the voice of a lot of people, but he also has that just moral ambiguity to him where, like, if he wasn't thrust into making the decision,
Yeah.
what would his decision be? Because all this stuff is just like I said, it's just kind of, you good?
Yeah, we go good.
It's all just kind of thrust upon him. He never really has to make a decision. The decisions are kind of made for him, and he just has to react to them.
Yeah, and I think that's my thing with him reacting is, I believe that everything that Dante is going through is happening for a reason. If Randall and Veronica never speak, and Caitlyn never does the necrophiliac thing, I think he would still be playing. He'd want to be with Caitlyn, but he'd be with Veronica too. He'd be right. He'd be doing the same thing he'd doing until he got caught into something else. What's up?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Okay. Did you say the neck? What'd you
Was
say?
it necrophilia? Was
Yeah,
that what they
that's what
call
I thought you were talking about. I
it?
was
Isn't
like,
that
oh,
what,
that's
is that
that.
what that is? Like,
I have no clue, man. But I just kind of heard that pass, and I was like, necrofacking. Is that what you said? I didn't hear exactly.
I think it's necrophilia. I don't know. It could be
No, it's
some.
necrophilia for sure, but
Okay.
I just don't
Yeah.
know. I think that's like past tense almost. Like, what would be the present? What would be the act of doing necrophilia?
Well, hold on, man. Let me ask you this. So you said the active. How can you actively be dead?
Oh, oh.
How can you wake up dead?
Uh,
We're asleep awake.
that was Kevin Hart, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's Kevin Hart
What was it like Scary Movie 3 or something
three.
like that?
Anthony Anderson. They do it in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think they come
Wake
out. I
up
think,
dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't wake up. How are you gonna wake up?
How you gonna wake up dead? It's just like, yeah, I love that, man. Oh, good stuff. Yeah.
That's a good. Oh, Leslie Nielsen too.
Yeah, right. The act of necrophilia. There's really only.
What is it? What
I
is it?
don't know, man. You know what? I don't think it's something that we really need to look up. It's not that important.
Hey, but we probably answered the questions here. What was Kevin Smith? What is he thinking when that came up? Because there was something up, seriously. And then it shows like he's dead, and it shows the silhouette of the penis, just the old guy. So he was
before they wheel him away, man.
away.
Yeah, dude. Like so that's kind of the funny thing about Clerks too, man. Is like the bar is kind of set pretty high on like, wow, that's not even taboo subject. I mean, because it kind of happened to her without her knowing it. Like, I guess with Clerks too, he's like, well, how am I going to be fucked up again? You
Yeah.
know, like how can I one up, not even one up, but like at least keep on par with the craziness that I had in Clerks one, with being just like almost deadpan about it, you know, like, oh, that just happened. Like it's not even like it just it happens and then you're just like on to the next thing, you know, like it's crazy. It's neat how you can just move on in that movie and it's like, okay, well, she had sex with a dead guy on, you know,
Yeah. Well, I
it's not
mean,
something that sticks with you, but like after the fact, you're just thinking about it more. You know, and it's what you got to love about these kind of movies, man. If you're thinking about scenes like not even specifically like that, but if you have certain scenes that really kind of speak to you and really can kind of go, man, I'm just sounding terrible right now.
nah, no, you're doing
Talking
good.
about the necrophilia scene and scenes that really speak to you, you know, like
That one really does.
necrophilia.
I like the yeah, I like necrophilia.
You know,
The
but yeah, no, just like the whole movie in general is, like you said, it's a piece of art. It really is. It is it's a timestamp of, you know, a generation that is in the middle of, you know, internet's barely breaking out. You have payphones. You have, you know, nobody has a cell phone. Like you said,
yeah.
Facebook isn't invented, so you have word of mouth traveling, but it still gets around just as fast. You know, it's just it's really cool, and I love this movie, man, start to finish. Like I couldn't stop watching it. Oh, another thing that made me really laugh out loud, and this is a little bit further back, but they have that cat that's in the store the whole time,
The black
and
one.
whenever that, yeah, and that customer comes in, and I don't even know if it is the litter box, which I don't know why they would have a litter box sitting on the counter,
Yeah.
but the cat just comes and sits in it, and the customer you can just see is like, dude, that like that actor, or I don't know if he is an actor, but you know, he did a great job because he's just like sitting there like kind of smiling but kind of disgusted. Like
Yeah.
it was the perfect face for that scene. And then the cat just shits right in front of him, and then you hear like it's great, man. It's like I can't even remember what was going on during that scene. I think it's whenever he was calling about seeing if it was a misprint in the paper, possibly.
Yeah.
And then that was going on. I think I could be wrong, but I mean, like I said, there's something else going on in the scene, and then you just see this cat taking a shit in front of a customer. Like oh man, just stand up stuff. I love it.
You know what? You know what I love about Clerks? It makes it feel it's not ashamed to have downtime.
Yeah,
It's it's not ashamed to have friends at work or make friends or talk to them or work with your best friend. It's like I think it really should like, hey man, like people out here, it's okay. Like I think I mean there's a thing of being like lazy or being a horrible worker. That's one thing. I don't like promote that, but if you happen to notice that there's like conversations that you have only with someone at work or I mean I've had I've waited tables for so long, and I only came out with maybe like I have like one friend that I can like
yeah,
one or two people that I'm like, yeah, they're my friends, but I waited with so I just like it's just there's some people that I just want to work with, and I don't want to hang out with them because at work we get it, but so it works like that. But I think with this kind of movie, it shows you that like, hey, like we're all in the same boat, we're all going doing this together. We'll figure it out. If, just enjoy the ride. It's gonna be you're on the ride. And
yeah.
I think it really shows. They even go to the funeral, and they're only there for like 5 minutes. Like they leave work, man. They're not. They're like it's a movie technically about work, and they don't work.
Yeah,
They don't.
especially
Do,
Randall.
do they even make any sales? Because I think the only thing they sell are cigarettes. Because people
Yeah,
get offended and they throw. I'm not coming back here again. And like every other person, they piss off. So it's like I wonder where they're going with a lot of the
well, we know for sure Dante doesn't make any money because he gets fined $500.
500
So
bucks.
he's definitely negative. I wonder if that was like towards the store or specifically to him, or if the store would have to eat that. I imagine they would take it out of his paycheck
Yeah, they
regardless. But
they wait. What would they do in that time frame? They definitely fire him,
yeah,
and then they would put it no, because it's like a bartender. Well, nowadays, if a bartender overserves, they'll get the bartender too. So
yeah,
they make him pay for a partial payment, maybe. Huh?
yeah.
I mean, he kind of, but like nonchalantly gets a ticket, but I mean, like that's supposed to be the worst thing in the whole movie, and it doesn't bother
Mhm.
him. It
No.
doesn't bother because he has that Caitlyn back in his life, and
Yeah.
and he even knows that like he even knows Randall was the reason why. He knows that you're the reason why I'm in this situation, but you're my best friend, so I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think another thing that's just great about Clerks too is like it's really a grounded movie. Like it's real. Like it's almost like this could happen to you. Like if you were working in a convenience store now, these certain events, like maybe not, but like the stuff that goes on in the movie, like it's very real. Like it's very grounded in reality. As even though a lot of crazy stuff happens, like it's not so absurd of like, oh, that would never happen kind of thing, Like I guess my biggest thing going from Clerks to Clerks 2 is that being in a convenience store, I feel like is a little bit more relaxed than it
mhm.
would be in the food service industry. Like whenever there are movies, like, oh, they just go to the go-karts. Like, yeah, I understand that's like Randall and Dante and stuff like that. Yeah. But dude, you wouldn't be able to get away with that,
Yeah, but that I think
Like,
I yeah, I get you.
and
Go.
and like you have four employees for all day. Like that it doesn't seem reasonable.
Which it
You
just
know,
shows
with but
it
like
just
with the clerk store, yeah, I mean, I could see them. The store is small enough. Like, yeah, you could have one person there all day. I mean, it's a long ass shift, but I mean, unless you just have no business, then must be the most. It must be the terrible movies, which it kind of is. The worst movies there was
well
to have no customers.
they bring that up a lot. They don't have customers. I think they really showing you there that that life that they're living, they don't need it.
Yeah, or
I
they don't
think
care.
they don't care. So
Yeah,
there's no money involved for them. They're just doing it. It's not really a big jump from the effort that they're putting in. They put a little bit more work because they actually have to move around. But even at that, Randall still reads the paper. He's still like I like what I like about Clerks too is you get what you kind of can already guess what's gonna happen. Randall's and that's the thing I like that they cranked up Randall like he's out of time. I feel like one thing I do love about Clerks the jump from Clerks to Clerks 2 and I think what is it 12-year jump from 94 to 2000 yeah.
yeah,
So what I like is it was a long slow marinating story that you had to kind of grow up a bit to get. There's a lot of humor in Clerks 2. I feel like Kevin Smith made Clerks as like a student film version of what he can do, and then Clerks 2 was like, look what I can do with a budget.
yeah,
So that's what I feel like. That's what he's like. This is my movie. Like I feel Clerks is an experimental movie, where Clerks 2 is a movie, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed Clerks 2.
yeah.
Um, it could be a standalone. You could just watch Clerks 2 as a movie, and it'd be funny as hell. You'd
Oh
have to
yeah.
get it's a definitely well Kevin Smith is a big stoner, so it's definitely like a stoner movie.
He
Um,
wasn't for the longest time, dude.
yeah, it wasn't too.
He
Yeah,
Yeah, I think honestly, I think around the time of Clerks 2 is whenever he started smoking because I know he said Jason Mewes gave him a blunt like way back when he
Blunt
had it like
Man.
stored. Yeah, he had it, like stored away somewhere, and one night him and his wife smoked. He was like, "Why haven't I been doing this?" I think it was like a night with Kevin Smith is whenever he was talking about that. I believe either that or was some interview that I saw, but um, yeah, man, I thought that was pretty crazy. And then also Jason Mewes got sober for this movie because I think
Oh,
he was, that was a legitimate thing at the
yeah, when
beginning
in the
of,
movie.
yeah,
So
within the movie
okay,
where,
that's
yeah,
cool.
he was actually sober. Um, and you're absolutely right. Like with Clerks 2, you have cameos. You have Ben Affleck,
Ben
Jason
Affleck.
Lee. I mean, and these guys in 2006. I mean, at least Jason Lee. I mean, he was fairly well known.
Already,
He was
yeah.
doing My Name Is Earl, and not to mention all the stuff he'd done before. I mean, he'd been with Kevin Smith. I mean, since what
Well,
Mallrats?
they're friends, so that's cool that
Yeah,
they still brought him back. Like he still gave him a place. I like
yeah.
that scene. I don't know if we want to jump deep into the. Like this is just let's do it. Let's dive
Let's do it.
straight to the deep end. That was a very I like that scene because the Jason Lee character he wasn't really an enemy until I thought he was just a guy. He did make himself like as like a nice guy, just a guy that. But he realized, oh no, he went in there to maliciously
Just
like rub it in their face. So you're like, oh no, he's kind of an asshole. He's a dick about it. But that's a good part because it really makes Randall think about him. And I understand the go kart. That's he's remembering when he was younger because it was fun. I just think, I mean, in general, I mean, I'm 36. I lived a little bit, so I think you're just always gonna miss that youth,
Yeah.
innocence. And he even says it. Randall says when the world was in front of us, and then I was like, oh, plus when you get older and the world gets behind you, oh shit. So when it's in
Yeah.
front of you, meaning like you don't know what's going on to happen, you and every I think life I think life is a very it could be very cruel and it could also be very nice at the same time. And the Clerks 2 is real beautiful about that. It shows you that they kind of like what they do and how they kind of go in full circle. As in like you can't be that same guy anymore. Like Randall can't be the same guy anymore. And because even like the whole porch monkey thing, like that conversation, it's like offending people, and I'm like, what's going on? Because that happens a lot nowadays. I'm like, oh, because people around you don't want to talk like that anymore. So
Yeah.
he feel like he hasn't changed with the times, and that's what I caught. I don't know if you caught that. Like Randall, he's kind of stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And I've worked
He
with
is.
like, and he's also the video guy, the video store guy. Those are the kind of the dudes that kind of get stuck in the past. Look at us. I'm not
Mhm.
playing, but
Yeah.
like people like people that
Well, even at the end of the movie, I mean, he still work. I mean, it's like VHS and Nintendo. It
yeah,
doesn't have anything about DVDs or anything like that on there. I mean, even reopening that, I mean, you would feel like you'd have to
that's
update it a little
true.
bit,
That's
but
true. He's still stuck in
it
the
was just
past.
yeah. I mean, it's literally.
I saw that, but it
But
never clicked. Never. I noticed. I was like,
yeah,
oh, he saw VHS. Cool.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. Like even in the background, you know, one thing too about oh man, with the go-kart scene, before Dante kind of probed him a little bit about that, I just kind of wrote down that I figured that he would like the go-karts because he even mentioned, he's like, you have a license, like you can drive a grown-up car. Like
Yeah.
he says it like that too, like he's like a kid almost. And um it kind of, for me, it was just like, well, a go-kart, hell, he could be racing a bunch of 14-year-olds. Of course he's going to be the best go-kart driver there is. I mean, he knows how to. And
Yeah.
granted, when you drive a go-kart, it is different. It is a little bit different than a car, but I mean, he knows, like, oh, this is go, this is stop. Like, you just have that muscle memory already ready, and then you go and you're like, oh, okay, I got first in the go-kart. Well, yeah, you did, man. I mean, you've been driving for more time than these kids have been alive. And so I figured, like, that would probably be a reason that he wouldn't want to say,
Yeah.
but could also be another reason of why he wanted to go do the go-karts. It's something that he could be good at. He could dominate at, right after he just got put down so
Yeah.
hard.
The way that relates to me is as I was getting older, I played basketball all my life when I was young to got high school and so forth. And you get into the reality. It's like, all right, basketball's over, go work or go do something, and you're kind of like, I don't know what the hell I want to do. So you're kind of going through life and you're getting your bruises, your bumps, you're figuring things out. And one thing I noticed when I was at my saddest and when the depression really takes over, when it really took over, I was like, dude, what was I doing when I was younger? And I remember one point when I was in my mid-20s where I was like, what was I doing that I was younger? Because when I was younger, it was harder for me. My life was harder when I was younger because I couldn't make any decisions. I had to go where my mom wanted to go. I had to do whatever what she wanted to do. Like I never had. I mean, once I got there, I could do whatever I wanted, but it was like I didn't want to. I had to kind of make the best out of all my scenarios. And so what would I do? And I was like, well, a lot of stuff I did was I played basketball when I was had issues, and so I was like, all right, I'm getting back into basketball. Like I'd played a little bit over the years, but I mean, it wasn't like I'd been playing like I did now. So I started conditioning again, and as soon as I started playing the first game, I realized, oh no, I need to get back into the old. I need to get back to the gym 4 days a week, and it got me motivated. It got me doing it. And my little brother's gay, so I've always been around the gay community. One of my good friends, he's gay, and or a lot of my friends are gay. So he was telling us about the volleyball league, and I was like, well, I don't want to play the gay volleyball league. I'll play volleyball, but I don't really like it. If there was a gay basketball league, I'd sign up. Like, well, there is a gay basketball league. I was like, what? I played I played every league in Austin, and they all suck. They're all unorganized. They don't work. They don't. They're like I don't care for them. I'll play in the gay league. I don't care. I'm comfortable. I know who I am. I grew up around gay people. Let's do it. I signed up the gay league, and I instantly was like, oh, like we have a draft. Oh, there's there's teams that they have even like even amount of players on teams, like, oh, and there people show up on time. Oh, I love this gay league. This is awesome. And then we get drinks after this. This is great. Let's just go hang out. And it got me just already remembering at that time when I was younger where I just played hoops. So I started bringing it back slowly into my life. And once I started doing it more, it gave me more of a kind of a little light to like see. And I think that's what the hockey is in the first one. And I think that's the resemblance in the second one with the go-karts. It just, he says, it reminds me of a different time. But as I got older and I kept playing, like, dude, we have like MVPs. I have one MVP, and I think I was gonna get my second MVP in the or was it in the competitive league, but I'm not the advanced, the competitive. But although COVID took that away, but we were in the playoffs, we were undefeated. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what could have, should have. But it feels good to kind of have people think like you, be like, dude, we're all like in our mid 20s or 30s, and some people are in their 40s, and some people are in their 50s, like, and we're still out here doing this, like, and I'm like, I don't care, because one, it makes me wake up early to work out. Two, it makes me work on my motor skills still. Three, like, it's something I did when I was a kid, like I love doing, and I'm just not gonna. There's nothing in an office that I'm looking at gonna be like, oh, that's gonna be fun for me to do, like, or we'll go to a restaurant. Like, I like being in a restaurant, but there's certain positions there I wouldn't work, Yeah. So it's like you work in all of them, you figure that out, and there's that reality of life. When you're younger, you just played hoops, man. I played all the time, just hooping and oh, my left hand's not as good as my right hand's, make it better. You find that kind of things, and I think with this movie, with Clerks 2, there's that Jason Lee character when he shows up and he's bragging like he did something with himself. And I love that Elias character, man. That 19-year-old, he's like, here, he gives him an idea. And that's what I loved about the Jason Lee character. He didn't like shut him down. He's like, here's my business, here's my card, call me. Like, he's like, oh, he's like a little Christian dude.
He flicks the card at him.
It's like, it's pretty, I'll get back to the subject. But like, you have that freedom in your life, but that youth, that innocence is like, I think what he captures in this movie. And that you can't really be like that. And Randall doesn't have to grow up, actually, because they opened the store again. So he goes back to his original habitat. So he's just going to be the guy. And you're right. He just had the VHSs, so he's not going anywhere. But yeah, the love of something, if you lose that love, I think the store, they loved it. They didn't realize they loved it. And even the way they do the fire is silly. Like, it's just CGI kind of thing. Like, oh, it's kind of, but it's like they do that, and it's like the beginning where you were is where you need to be, but not like that. Like, you need to be in charge. You need to be doing the thing. And I love that scene in this jail. The jail scene is very, very deep. Randall opening up and he goes, oh God, he tells Jay and Silent Bob to cover their ears, and he doesn't want to because he's not that guy, but he goes to it and he's like, what am I going to do? You're my best friend. And that was enough for Dante to be like, I just thought at the end of the only thing I didn't like about Clerks 2 is that he gets married to Rosario Dawson like that. Like, he was like, I guess you marry your best friend, but I think it went from him being with his fiance, then just snapped right over, and he just like gave her all everything. So I don't know. I'm not saying that didn't.
Was that the same ring too?
That's
like,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. There was no time. He was like, I guess there is no time. You're having a kid. So no, I guess I can see why now. I didn't have a child. I've been through a pregnancy, and you don't have any time. So I can see why the urgency was there, that he wanted to do that. There's a lot of running jokes that come up in part 2. You can keep bringing up. One thing that I like that he brings up a lot that come back from the old one. He also has the old guy that was, he was basically jerking off in the restroom when he died. They talk about that in part 2, where they goes, shut up, only did that once. They jerked off so they brought up someone still jerks off in the toilet, in the restroom. So
well, yeah, he's that old guy now.
He's an old guy now. Oh wow, you just cracked it. For me, you're right. They're the old guys now. They're in their 30s. You're not old, but you feel different. You're not young anymore. You don't have that
past your prime.
Yeah, you're
sorry. I'm almost 30. So
no, I don't know. I think men, you can keep your prime if you. I still love that quote. I think I've said it before. Yeah, I think we said it before. You're not old till you stop. You don't get old until you stop. You stop when you get old. Or wait, I said backwards first. You don't get old. I'm already screwing up the quotes again. You don't get old when you don't stop because you get old. You get old because you stop. So I'm very big into that one. I think if you keep yourself healthy and take care of yourself, and you do hey brother, you take your vitamins and eat your vegetables, and you'll be good, brother.
That's great, brother.
Yeah, brother.
No, whatever you're just doing that, man, that reminded me of Tommy Boy. Like, well, I can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a butcher's ass. Wait, that's not how that goes. Um,
Think like a butcher's ass.
uh,
That's it.
but anyway, man, yeah, no, Clerks 2, the Elias character, I mean, funny all the way through. Like talking about Transformers, like probably the
Me.
most, yeah, man, like that scene where they're talking about Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Like whenever I first watched this movie, like that was the one thing that stood out the most. Like I remember that so vividly. And his representation of like the Lord of the Rings movies, like them just walking and stuff like that. And those
That's
two customers in the corner, and they're just, and that one guy's just like, fucking A. Like,
dude.
and it's, I mean, it's funny because Lord of the Rings is, it's a beautiful movie trilogy. It really is.
It is. It is.
But whenever it comes down to like, what am I going to sit down and watch? Am I going to watch Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? I'm probably watching Lord of the Rings. I mean,
Whoa.
oh,
You heard that, ladies and
Freudian
gentlemen.
slip right there. Oh my God, no, it's Star Wars. No, it's Star Wars all day. But you know, I own both. It's not like I necessarily
Exactly, right? You're not missing
well,
out.
you know, no. But if I'm like, oh man, what do I want to watch today? I mean, Star Wars is just so much easier to put on than Lord of the Rings is, in my opinion. You know, like I said, that's just me.
I'm gonna.
But dude, like making that guy throw up by just talking
Oh
about
yeah,
like
that's funny, dude. That's like he's
it's
that much of a
just like
nerd. You pissed him off that
bricks and
much.
mortar in Frodo's mouth, and he just
Ugh.
like
Well, I'll
yeah.
say this much. Everybody listening, you're gonna. I told my little cousin this week, and he was like, "Whoa, right on!" And I was like, "Why do people say that?" I'm not admitting this. I'm both. I lean a little bit more this. I Star Trek.
There you go, man.
I put Star Trek on it. I love Star Wars, but I remember
Are
growing
you
up
talking
watching.
J.J. Abrams or?
All of them, all of them. Next Generation. You know, I love. I grew up watching the Next Generation with my aunt, so we'd sit down and watch it. I'd
Yeah,
be like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like, I
dude.
don't know. So with me, I'm all about anything sci-fi. I'm all over. But you know,
Yeah,
when they're having that, I like that because I could say like, I kind of feel like I'm biased between the Star Wars and the. I mean, I'm not biased because of the Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings. I feel like my decision to pick would be okay. Well, if I'm gonna be honest, the original Star Wars, yes, I
yeah.
will put that first over Lord of the Rings. But if we're gonna watch all this stuff after the original three, I will put Lord of the Rings first. And that's the way I would see it. Now, if you threw
Oh
Star
man,
Trek in there, I don't know where I'd be.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest, man. You know, it. There's another podcast that I really enjoy listening to. It's called Hyperspace Hangout, and they talk about Star Wars. And the guys on there, man, they're around our age, and their favorite, you know, one of their favorite movies is The Phantom Menace. And like going back and rewatching that, I mean, it really is like it's a solid movie.
Yeah, no, it,
It sets up a lot, and you know, I get what you're saying. Like, I totally agree with you too. Like, because they're big Lord of the Rings fans too, and I think they have a separate podcast for that. But yeah, I mean, the original trilogy, it's just it has everything that you want. You know, it has everything that you need. It
yeah.
has those twists. It has the, you
Well, yeah,
know,
we need the Luke and the his relationship
yeah,
with his
man.
sister. It's
Well,
like,
and exactly. Well, and you know, even in Clerks, man, they're talking about like um how Empire and Return of the Jedi, like which one's better? Is like, well, Empire, man, it's just like so much more realistic. I mean, you have Luke with his hand cut off, and Han getting frozen in carbonite, and you know, and then John or Randall goes on about talking about you know all the contractors on the second Death Star, and
oh
like
yeah, yes, like
all
the
those innocents'
conversations. Oh
deaths.
yes,
Yes, man. And then the you know, sorry, I hate to go back to Clerks one, but you know, he's
do it.
talking that roofer comes back by and he's like, he gives a real life example. And he's like, they knew the risk,
Yeah.
you know, they knew what was going on, and he was like, oh, okay, you know, that's a valid point. Um, you know, I think
That's not the guy that Randall spit on, is it? Is that
no,
conversation? Okay.
that was yeah, that was some guy just coming in reading the
Okay.
tabloids. Um, But yeah, man, it's almost like the clerks conversations, like you said, it's almost like a student film. Like they just seemed a little bit more sophisticated, and even in Mallrats, man, like the conversations they have in there too are
Yeah.
just like they're next level. Like honestly, kind of thought provoking, even though they're you know odd, off the wall questions, but it's just like interesting. They're very interesting questions. Another thing too, that I thought was really cool. I don't know if you watch Clerks all the way to the very end, um, but at the very end it says Jay and Silent Bob will return for Dogma,
Oh,
and so I think Dogma was supposed to be like his next feature film. And so you have Mallrats coming out next. I think he just like he had Dogma kind of he had to shelve it to
yeah.
kind of get everything in order. But I thought that was kind of cool, man.
He
And
threw it out
so,
there.
yeah, like he, it was almost like what they do in the MCU now, like whereas like Captain America will return in
Yeah.
Avengers and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. I really thought that was kind of neat. And even back before there was probably some movie that did that before, Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not where you're going to get a lot of fresh, new cinematic ideas. More of like a little bit of repeating things, especially like with all most of the, I think what was it? Sorry, I'm kind of getting off topic here, but I think most of the movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like in Phase Two, there's a character in every movie that loses an arm, and that's supposed to pay homage to Empire, where Luke gets his hand cut off.
Okay.
So there's little stuff like that, like little callbacks that they have in there. But I kind of like I said, kind of got a little off topic there. Sorry, but
Hey, keep going. We just talked, man. We talked about the movie. When you said like people having these silly conversations, like I remember like the conversations that I wanted to have, I didn't know existed where I was from. So I just kind of kept them to myself. And then when you start hearing people through work having the conversations and stuff, and one of the ones like first I remember being like to just kind of go and nerd them. It was a Mortal Kombat conversation that two of my friends were having, or two of my coworkers were having, and I was like, well, I know Mortal Kombat. I always think people know way more than I do, so I always go into something being like, I don't know as much as you do, so maybe let me learn. But then once you start having the conversation, you start learning like, oh, I know more, or I know the same, we're even cool, or I don't know as much, cool, whatever, you learn it. But one of the conversations was, all right, well, who would you bang? Would you bang Katana, Melina, or Jade? And I was like, well, they're all the same. They're just different powers. I know for sure I wouldn't make out with Molina. And then they go, what? I go, her teeth. She's a Baraka. She's got the teeth like him. I forgot what they're called, but she's like, she got it. And they go, well, all right, well, would you let her? I was like, no, what? No. Well, and then like, you start getting into that stupid, how about for $1,000,000? How about for
yeah,
and when it comes to that game, I always go with like real life scenario. I don't do the $1,000,000 to yeah. Of course, people do stuff for like $10 million. I'm always like, would you do it for $45? Because it's like because you don't have 40. Do you have $45 right now? No. Would you do it for $45? No. So
even like
what's the lowest I can get you at? What's the absolute
lowballing people
lowest?
there,
What's
CJ.
the lowest I can absolutely get you at? Can I get you? Can I get you to do that same joke? Because $10 million, anybody would cut off a pinky toe for $10 million. They
Oh
said,
yeah,
if
I mean,
somebody's,
and then they blend it up and drink it.
yeah,
You
oh
know,
yeah, but then you feel sorry, sorry,
sorry,
oh
so sorry
sorry,
about it.
so sorry about it.
Uh,
God, I could
sorry.
sorry.
That sounds so weird when I say
We got you come over. We're gonna play a game of sorry, okay.
it.
God, we give a little homage. Hey, this is side by side. They never nothing goes away. We bring it back, or it goes a little
Nope.
forward. And now we're finding out that things were being placed. Seeds were placed. Kevin Smith did for Dogma, and I forget because you get Blunt Man and Chronic and Mallrats. So
Yeah.
they keep coming back.
And then
Man,
they come back for Jay and Silent Bob Returns, or no, Strike Back. And then they just recently did Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and I watched that. Um, Not terrible. There's a few like laugh out loud moments, but um, Kevin Smith really, I think he was, can't remember where I heard it, but he really got on to a deal where he wanted to work with his daughter and really just make movies with her. And he wasn't really caring about like what critics were saying or anything like
Yeah.
that. He was just wanting to make fun movies and stuff like that. And so, with that being said, Jay and Silent Bob is a great movie for that. It has a nice little adventure. It's the same as like Strikes Back, and it's it's a good movie in that sense. Is it as thought provoking as Clerks or
No.
Mallrats or no, no. I mean, these honestly, man, like it's hard to replicate just the amount of like stuff in Clerks because man, like I feel like that's a lot of time built up. Like that's a lot of questions. That's a lot of a lot of material over so many years, man. And then if you're wanting to make movies like every 2 or 3 years, you're not going to get as much of that content. Like this stuff had been building in him,
Yeah.
and then you just had to get it out. You
Like,
know,
like Mike Judge did. Like they kind of do the same thing where they kind of go through the process
yeah,
and then they've harnessed something.
yeah.
Um,
And so I think not to say necessarily that the movie's not as good. It's just a different caliber of movie. Like it's Clerks, man. It's yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about it. Like, honestly, one of the few movies that I can't sit there and be like, "Oh, I didn't like that part," or "I didn't,
yeah.
like this," or anything. It's hard to find anything negative to say about it. Even trying to talk about Clerks too, I keep on going back to Clerks. You know,
No, but it does. It holds well. You need you don't need to see Clerks or Clerks 2. You could watch either or. I mean,
you know,
I think you need to watch Clerks before you watch Clerks 2. But if you just watch Clerks 2 by itself, it makes it's just like as a good little funny movie.
you know.
Um, I liked about Clerks 2 is just like the way they added certain characters. The one and always beautiful Rosario Dawson,
Hmm.
she comes out and she just has like a really good, like even her role is like his character for female there changed as she's cool, laid back. Like and they even say about Emma, his fiance, like, dude, you're just with her because she's a chick you couldn't get in high school. Like,
Yeah,
you're still trying to relive the past. It's kind of like it happens a lot. I like the Elias character a lot, man. Like I
yeah.
could totally relate with the Transformers for sure. And what they say about GoBots is just it's like a poor man
Kmart,
Kmart. Yeah, it's like a
uh,
Kmart.
Kmart version
Uh,
of Transformers.
and he goes, yeah, that's what I said. Like I felt like that too. GoBots kind of you still watch them, but you're like, not the same.
Oh,
But
man. And
the
just his innocence too, or I don't even know if it's innocence, man, but just like maybe ignorance would be a better.
well, I
He's
mean,
just like,
I wasn't shy like he is, but I was a little bit more. I was just forward. So when you're too forward, you bump into a lot of things. Um,
yeah.
so
But
with
like, whenever, oh, what was it? Oh, right here. It says, whenever Randall calls the Kinky Kelly uh,
God,
donkey show thing, and then he's like, oh, he's trying to make a reservation. He's like, when do you want it for tonight? And he's like, I'm on hold. He's like, cross your fingers, and then
like,
like crosses his fingers, like we should cross dicks too. And he just like starts throwing
yeah, he's a
fist
bit
bumps. He's
bad.
like, no. And dude, like it's just
The
it's stuff like that,
the
man. Oh,
trolls,
and then
man.
the pillow pants, and then
Yeah, pillow pants. Like that's like he has to believe that. I mean, I'm cracking up too when he's excuse my French, but when the guy starts having sex with the donkey and then he starts jerking off too. He doesn't know why, but he just
I'm sorry, Jesus.
that's why this is funny. He's just jerking off. Like there's just little scenes like that that are just funny to me.
So one thing that I thought was kind of funny, like the pillow pants kind of thing, I thought was hilarious. And then he's like, "Have you even kissed her yet?" He's like, "No." Are you? She has a mouth troll. It's like Lister Fiend, and I was like, "That sounds like Listerine. Like maybe she just has bad breath or something.
Oh,
She
that's what
just
I
doesn't
wrote
want to."
down. Lister Fiend. It's Listerine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I just thought that was funny. Mouth troll too. And then right after that, you have the Lance Dowd character, Pickle Fucker.
Pickle fucker, and then
Uh,
there's a story behind it. So, like you said, like it doesn't matter who you become. There's always
yeah.
something that they won't forget about you.
Yeah,
Um,
and then what was it? Right after that, dude, I love whenever they make his food and he gives it to Jay, and Jay's like,
oh,
"Awesome, man, thank you." And they're out there eating, is like, "This tastes like piss and flies, man." Then Bob just sticks his head.
but that
Like,
I
I
like
just
that.
love
I also
that.
like that Kevin Smith showed that like people are smart too. People like your audience grows from your movies. I think that he kind of like people do stuff like that. So he like didn't he
Yeah,
pass it on? And it's funny having to give it to those two idiots. Um, what else I got? I like the. I mean, like I said earlier, I got the they had the Wanda Sykes and I forgot that other comedian's name. He
his
was
name
there.
is Earthquake,
It's
I think.
Earthquake, right?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I remember I was like, he's a comedian. I can't remember his name. I'm like that they came out in it. That they played like that scene. They got felt like they got racist, or people being
Hmm.
racist to him, and they're in there. And they don't want the food. He wants the food, and she's what he wants. It. Oh man, like, he only gets pissed when she throws it on the floor. He has enough.
You
Um,
can't taste racism, you know. I heard that, man. It just was like that sounds like Chick-fil-A, just a little bit.
Chick-fil-A.
Um, but
We
yeah,
need to
that's
get
the first thing that came to
uh,
my mind.
we need to get some Mexican here.
Uh,
They'll just knock it all out. Like they'll be
yeah,
messing around.
exactly, dude. Uh, yeah, dude, that whole thing
I,
was
I
just
like the Jason Mouse when he breaks the fourth wall. He doesn't do it pretty. He doesn't do it bad. It's because
yeah.
he looks like he's doing it in a mirror. Like he's not really doing it in a like at the camera. So he's looking at the camera, but he's kind of acting like he's doing it in the mirror. It's pretty cool.
You talking about the Buffalo
Yeah,
Bill
and then
scene?
dude,
Yeah.
I lost it when he runs outside. And what's important? And he's like that with he's got his penis tucked in. He's like that. I was like, what? That doesn't crack me up. I feel like he does
Yeah,
that on the
dude.
regular in front of Kevin Smith.
Probably. Dude, another great scene I loved with Jay and Silent Bob was whenever Dante and Randall are going outside to talk about Becky being pregnant.
Yeah.
And then they just hit him with the door and he's just
Well, he's also don't look at my dick, and he gets closer. He gets close to him,
yeah.
Silent Bob. Like
He just
I
slammed
can't
the
pee.
door open and
Okay,
hits him. He's damn it. And then it happens again.
I just realized he's not peeing. He's stuck. So he's just standing there. So that's why he gets hit. I was like, how did he get hit again? He got hit because he was just standing in the way. Oh man, man, I got a few notes on Elias, but we hit him already. I love that guy. He was really funny.
Oh
Just
yeah.
like we could be a nerd, and he's like, it's one ring, and then Randall shuts on him, and then that dude comes in, they click. Like that's I like that. It shows that people now it's having a little bit more open conversation about things we enjoy. Um, I mean, I really do think that Randall's out of touch. He's out of because like
Yeah.
I've worked with people like that, older than me, and
He
he's what
even denying that his grandma was racist up until like he
so he
just like
realizes it.
yeah, he just like, oh, maybe she was, like it just yeah, like you said, he's just lost in the times, man. He doesn't yeah.
I'm really
So
what's up?
oh, sorry, I was gonna ask you sorry.
Sorry.
I was gonna I was gonna ask you what you thought about that whole dance scene
That
with
was
ABC.
that was a good one. Oh, okay, just the whole okay. That okay, I forgot. I just first thought about Dante and Becky, but you're right about the ABC. That's like
Yeah,
another level. That's like
yeah, man.
another because not only are you seeing Kevin Smith growth as a filmmaker, he's just kind of like I'm gonna throw this. Like I wrote it down here, throws a goddamn musical in the middle, the mob dance. He
Right in the
just
middle.
what
Yeah.
there's no point of it, but it works, and you get into it, and it's a loving song, and I feel like it builds you up a little bit. And
Hmm.
but the thing I like with Becky and Dante up, it's showing us is that's why they're friends. That's why he has a relationship with her, and it's not like this. Man, I don't want to be rude to Emma because she is, and I know a few Emmas, but she is like a very supporting, and there's nothing wrong with her. She just wants that kind of life,
No.
but
Yeah.
she wants it. She doesn't want there. She doesn't want it there, and he doesn't want to go, and he shouldn't go. And that's the thing I love about that dancing that shows that they have a connection. That look, they spend time with each other. They're supposed to be working. Look, that just goes back to your theory on like they get no business. They don't get
Hmm.
any they don't get anybody. They're able to stop and dance, and then he cranks out the music. Silent Bob's able to crank out the music.
Yeah,
Um,
and at first it's Goodbye Horses, right? I think
yeah.
no, it wasn't. It was that it was a song
I
from yeah,
can't remember what song it
yeah.
was.
I can't either, but it was from the first one, I believe. Like they did that. They had that song in there, and then that's what they were singing to Elias whenever he like ran away from him and yanked
That's
himself.
right. That's right. That's right. I think I do like the fact that Elias and well Randall is prepping Elias to be his best friend because he's like, damn it,
Yeah,
if he really goes, if Dante really goes, I better be prepared. And I like that he did that. I like that he's able to acknowledge the fact that um you know that that sorry I was thinking that the freaking dude from Super Troopers, the burger guy, that's kind of like the Dante the Elias character. Like it's like kind
yeah,
of like I'm kind of like oh kind of like the same kind of guy in a way, the burger punk. Um, but no, he's his character to me, outside of the innocence, outside of just he's just along for the ride, and that Randall's ready to prep him. Like hey, you're my understudy now, but you're not gonna really learn anything from Randall. You know, Randall's just kind of
yeah.
like he just does the same. He even tries to go into the damn store when it's burnt up. Like he does it. He's so he's done the same thing, the routine. He just doesn't get it. Like so it's like you like I like that they take jabs at Randall in this one. Like he's not untouchable. He is a person that can and will be put down. But that at the end they go at each other and it's like a love. It's like a brotherly love. Like they coming at each other, beating each other up. Like they needed that. They needed to go through that. It wasn't like the first time they didn't apologize. They kind of just understood each other and they moved on. This one they actually kind of like get in each other's faces because you know it's got to happen. You know they gotta have to have that confrontation because they're so tangled up with each other's lives that they don't that they don't really understand that they need each other. And if
Yeah.
one of them goes like it's like twins, I feel like they're kind of like twins. They kind of feel like you. I mean, I'm not a twin, but I would think that like you know when you have a twin, you're always with them. And while I grew up with actually 2 or 3 sets of pairs of twins, and I'm always like, how's it? No, this is the kind of twins I grew up with. Hey, how's it feel looking at your brother, knowing that you look like that? He goes, I don't look like that ugly guy. Like put that his brother. Like it's just like oh, he's like when you're twins, like yeah, I don't think like you. I'm like oh, that's true. Um, God, dude, like I love this the whole thing about Clerks too. It just captures a whole lot of just about just growing up. It's where you're headed. It's kind of like like I didn't pay attention when I was younger, but it is kind of like where you're headed. Like it's showing you like if you don't make a decision, you could be like Dante and have the world around you make a decision for you, and you don't like that. Or you can be like Randall and just kind of get outdated and have to hide in your own little world in your own head. That's why he's reading the magazines. If you think about it, he's never in touch with anybody, and he just kind of talks at you. And
Yeah.
I did like at the end where I was like, because I hadn't seen Clerks 2, I go full through, and I was like, I bet you those idiots, Jane Silent Bob, have money. And they're like, yeah, we have money. So like that everything just kind of tangles in. It gives you the reason. And I like that Randall already had that in the back of his head. We should own the store. That way you don't leave and your family. And I think that when Dante gets stuck at that red light, he really sees that family. That really it makes him like, that's you now. That's where you're going. And
Fun fact: that's Kevin Smith's daughter in
I
the
was
window.
figuring that. I figured that's
Yeah,
what's her name? Harley.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. Yeah, I figured that was her. Um, I was like, yeah. So I mean, that's cool. That I mean, she's already. Well, now
Oh
she's
yeah,
making movies now. I think. Well, he's
yeah,
50. He's 50 years old now. So, you know.
yeah. She was. Yeah, she was in. Oh, she was actually in Jalen Silent Bob reboot. She was one of the kind of main characters.
Oh, I need to get back
In
into
that,
this.
yeah, it was like I said, it was a good movie. She was also in Tusk with
Yeah,
Justin Long.
I need to watch it. Kevin.
I haven't seen it. Honestly, it's kind of along the lines of the Human Centipede, and so I'm not 100% down with those movies. But
Neither am
hey,
I.
if we pick it, I will watch it.
I know
I
we
will.
too, we'll too. But we'll, you just hit a knob on something. My cousin, he's into like heavy metal and dark stuff. He's the one that he's a couple years older than me, and he showed me like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and all that. I brought up Final Destination with him, and he goes, "Oh, I can't." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I just can't watch death movies like that." Those are. I go, the 1 and 2. 1 has a lot of practical effects. I like 1. 1 is
Yeah.
great. 2 has a little bit more CGI, but the way they do it looks great. 3 and 4, 5 got better, but 3 and 4 they all CGI, and it's like no. And then you see 5, and it brings it back. But I told him, you haven't seen any of those deaths? He goes, nope. Because I kind of saw the first one a little bit, but I shut it off and I just said no. And I will say that my girlfriend from high school, my bad relationship, I will say that was the movie that we saw that we actually enjoyed watching, Final Destination. That's kind of, I guess it's a little foreshadowing for the relationship. But no, I mean, like a lot of movies like Tusk, I think I haven't seen it because of that. I don't want to really have a mind fuck movie. Like I feel like Kevin Smith, what I've noticed, he's a little hard on himself because of that movie. I don't know if he I don't know if I think I've caught on. He talks about himself when he's like, oh, when I made that movie. But I mean, you make them, like even this weekend I made a movie and I wasn't by myself and I had help, but I took on all the main parts as myself to see if I could, and I missed the deadline by 4 minutes, but it showed me that I'm like, okay, I'm learning. Every time I do one of these, I learn, but I'm learning now certain things about myself that I like, that I want to show in my movie. So there's a few things in this movie I made called Clowning Around that there's a little homages in the movies we've seen. I don't know if I'm replicating or just because I recently saw them, but I was like, man, I want to kind of put this in there. Or I was thinking of something. I was like, this kind of goes with this. So I kind of just threw it out there, and I feel like I was like, oh, there's a little bit of all these people been watching. But
we have like 100 years of movies. It's going to be hard not to replicate something.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. No. I get it. I'm calling them homages. I did an homage. An homage.
Yeah, I don't appreciate your ruse. Oof. You know, Oof. Like whenever he told her that, I was like, damn, man, his diction is killing.
So where it comes to that time, I think we can talk about the ratings. Let's see. Yeah. Well, we'll say, look, this is what we talked about Jon Favreau and the other filmmakers that take a little bit of money and go. So he made Clerks, so it was $27,575. Kevin Smith, but then I remember this. They had to put it back in post. They had to fix it. They had to bring it, kind of give it like a facelift, and they got a producer, I believe, and it made $230,000 it took to make, but at the box office it grossed $3.2 million. That's a huge. You see that 3.2. So they basically, you gave that 2 to get that 3, which is way more. So I believe that that's a home run hitter, and they realized he had something. I honestly think there's a bunch of I think a lot of filmmakers or creatives will say that there's a lot of us like that are out there, but it's up to you to make yourself kind of stick out and you see a lot of different things, and you gotta express them. But everyone sees different things, but don't really. I don't know. Everyone's creative these days. What I'm trying to say is you still gotta find a way to stick out. And he did it with Clerks. Yeah. I was gonna read real quick. I don't know if this is one of those movies at the VHS. It says here, yeah, I think maybe the VHS was the reason why like those movies that they made them on VHS and they sold more, so they went and made the DVDs. Yeah, or made or they remade them or reshot them in the theaters, but I think Clerks is that, and in Clerks 2,
I think they even had a laser disc of Clerks.
Yeah, it says it here. Yeah, laser disc.
Yep. So I mean, if it's making enough money to produce laser disc, I mean, then they really had some.
Yeah.
They felt like it was doing pretty good. I mean, obviously, it's a good movie.
And and Clerks on and I'm gonna have to buy this.
Looking at Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say about Clerks itself. Clerks, the DVD to buy on Amazon, it doesn't even go for under like $40, man. It's expensive.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no, now it's $12. I found. Never mind. There's one here that's for $12.
Okay.
But I was looking at it for the other day and I couldn't find anything for like $40. I was like, what? $37? Like this is crazy. What? Like, yeah, $36.96 right here. It's a collector. It's a collector series though. I might have.
Is it Clerks X? Because that's apparently has like. So I was reading on that earlier. Actually, so the original ending of Clerks was going to have some guy coming in after Randall left and like killing Dante.
What?
And yeah. That's how it was going to end with his death. And like the next day, you had somebody like looking to get cigarettes, and he's just like laying there dead.
That would have been a trippy. That would have sucked, dude. That would have ended it.
Yeah, and then and as we were talking, it kind of got me to thinking like if they did want to make a Clerks 2, I mean, it could have been like that last like Randall's life flashing before his eyes, or like what could have been, or
Oh,
something
he
like
could bring him
that.
back, like his
Or
dad.
Dante, yeah,
Yeah, but
Dante's
bring him back for
dead.
Flex
Yeah,
too. But he's like what he missed out on.
yeah, and that's why you have like the absurdity of random dance, dance in the middle, and how you're able to run a restaurant with four people there,
There's no
including the
no
manager.
business. Dude, the
Um,
restaurant I worked at, we had no management on Wednesdays and Sundays. It was horrible.
Jesus. Um, but yeah, man, like I was just kind of thinking about that while we were talking, and there was also another. It was a lost scene, but I can't for the life of me. Actually, let me look it up real quick. It was in the production.
the
Yeah, let's see here. Lost scene. Okay. Oh, it was going to be of Julie Dwyer. Julie Dwyer, that's her name. It was her wake, and so they were going to film it, but due to the cost of producing the scene, they just couldn't have it. Or
okay.
they filmed it, but they couldn't get it in there. Um, yeah, and the original ending with Randall leaves, Dante proceeds to count out register, and not notice another person entering the store upon Dante informing the late customer that they're no longer open, shoots Dante, killing him, makes off with all the money in the cash register. Deadface looking
God.
to pass the camera after the credits roll, the soundtrack over being the cash register making noises. A customer played by Smith with his beard shaved off. Oh, I guess that
Oh,
wouldn't be wearing glasses and a ponytail and baseball jersey comes to the store and sees no one else around. Dante is lying dead behind the counter and he steals some cigarettes.
I'm I'm
Um,
I'm kind of glad that they didn't go with that.
Same. Yeah. And this is funny too. They said it was too depressing. And then fans have since analyzed the death of Dante as a homage to the ending of Empire Strikes Back, which is discussed earlier in the film as Dante's favorite Star Wars movie because it ended on such a down note. Um, so, and it also implied the killer would never be caught as Randall disconnected the security cameras earlier in the day.
Man,
Yeah.
Randall, go back to Randall screwing him over.
Yeah. And then they even have Kevin Smith has since claimed he concluded Clerks this way for three reasons. The primary reason was irony. The ending would be a payoff for Dante's repeated claims was not even supposed to be here today.
Damn.
Also stated the ending was homage to Spike Lee's ending and Do the Right Thing, comedic film with a dark ending. And Lee's name that's another thing. He also thanked Spike Lee, Richard Linklater, and then there's two other people, Hal Harley and Jim Jarmusch. And I wrote those names down because I want to look them up because I have not heard of those two. And then what is the last thing? Also stated that into Clerks with Dante's death because he didn't know how to end a film. So those
Yeah.
are the three reasons. Um, but yeah, kind of getting onto our ratings. I mean, I have Rotten Tomatoes pulled up here for Clerks. The critics, with a count of 57, gave it an 89%. Audience score with a count of 285,412 also gave it a 89%. So it's pretty solid all the way through. I mean,
Yeah.
and to have that kind of median score for almost 300,000 reviews, I mean, it's pretty damn impressive.
Like I said, I don't know who the 57 critics are, but yeah, to get 89, that's a lot for
89
them.
on a, yeah. For Clerks 2, I have that pulled up too. The critic count is 166. Like I said, we don't know who the critics are, but they gave it a 64%.
Those
And then the
bastards.
audience, I know, right? Audience score is almost the same. It's
84.
285. Yeah,
Yeah.
84% there.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
still
the
got,
count's like almost 300,000 again.
and they still, yeah, I mean, this, so people are into this movies. Yeah, it's a 64-84 on the Rotten Tomato. I mean, more people, it's crazy. So more people rated part two and gave it a lower
I
score,
got
and
a
less
lower
people.
score.
So I mean, because I feel also part one, Clerks could hide in a like a artsy, like
Yeah.
the artsy, aristocratic, upscale. And I feel like people could kind of be like, oh, you haven't seen the movie Clerks, oh, Pooji. Where Clerks
Woohoo.
2 is more like you seen the porno Clerks too? You know, it's kind of like
Yeah, right.
not that hard, but it's
Especially with a donkey show
yeah.
at the end, you know, like,
That
oh, and that guy, whenever the cops show up, he's like, "Ooh, gotta finish." Like, he
yeah,
just
that's
like,
right. I gotta face like it. Okay, like no, not again. Like they're used to it. Oh, but even with when he called the cops, the first thing I realized, dude, they're gonna show up and the donkey show is gonna be going on. Like,
and you
but he
totally
does.
forget about that when everything like starts going on, and then they show up, and you're like, "Oh yeah, he did call him." Like, he even brings that, like, that's one cool thing about Kevin Smith in these two movies, man. It's like everything has a purpose. You know, even if it's just like a little scene or a short scene, like with Randall getting that kid a cigarette, it comes back around. You know,
Mm,
um, with a guy going in the bathroom. You know, with
yeah,
this, with the him
everything
calling the
has a
police.
purpose. Everybody has a
Everything has a
purpose.
purpose. Yeah, and it all fits in somewhere. There's no, like you said, it's not afraid to. What was it that you said earlier? Like it's
Park
not
and
afraid to have
beans.
down. Yeah.
Park and beans.
But like it's not afraid to have downtime, but
Nah, dude.
even in that downtime, like it still has a purpose, which is badass.
It is.
And
I
since we're getting to the ratings, man, I'm just gonna throw mine out there if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Clerks, um, out of our score of 1 to 13 on the side by side scale, I'm giving Clerks a 13.
Oh,
We have the inaugural first 13
back to
of Ben Garrett
13.
on side by side.
So if you've been
Um,
following us, we do a 1 through 13 rating. The reason this is a big excitement because you're gonna get your 1 through 10 is actually like your official kind of average score that people give, but we go a little bit more of the creme de la creme. We give a little bit more on the top. If you're gonna give an 11, a 12, or a 13, those are the movies that really resonate with you. Those are the ones that you
yeah,
love. You could have might have seen that movie right now at the age that you are, and it has such a deep impact for you. So those are going to be your 13s. And
yep,
with me, I found that I think I have like 4 or 5 13s we've already done, and we're doing this all by accident. We're not planning any of this.
yeah,
And
no,
so this is Ben's actually first 13. So let's give it up to him, everybody. I
yeah,
finally I was gonna wonder what a 13 was gonna take. I love it. I love it. So what's
yeah.
so what's your
So
13?
the reason being is like I think this is one of those movies that you really need to see. I mean, I think it can, even if even rewatching this movie. I remember watching it when I was younger, probably in my 20s. Because I'll be quite honest with you, I am like 98% sure I saw Clerks 2 before I even saw Clerks.
Oh, okay.
I was aware of Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, so I had an idea of who the characters were, or at least the actors, and so even though Jay and Silent Bob are side characters in this movie, I mean they were in Dogma. I think Dogma was the first Kevin Smith movie I actually remember seeing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it has a
you
lot of
know,
big stars, man. Dogma has a lot of big stars.
and
So does
so
Jane Silent Bob.
yes, I mean it has Will Ferrell in it, man.
Yeah,
In 2001, it has 2001 Will Ferrell.
very
So you're talking
vintage.
about, yeah, I mean, like that's after Night at the Roxbury, but before Old School and
I mean,
Anchorman and all
he
this other stuff.
he stuck out with me with the what do you call it? The character he played in Austin Powers. He plays that
Oh
guy.
yeah, Mustafa or something
Yeah,
like
and then I
that.
found out I was like, wait, why haven't I seen him before? Like, yeah, that's the guy from Night at Roxbury. I was like, oh, I love that movie. Then you
Yeah.
follow him, but yeah, this is
But
keyboard.
yeah, yeah, no, like I said, it's a must see movie. Just because, like I said, the script is fantastic. Um, there's little details that you can catch. Like I said, with the semicolon on the sign. I mean, these guys aren't stupid.
Yeah,
They may not be college educated, but they're smart enough to not be working in a convenience store.
yeah.
Um, you know, but they're still there. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, hell, at one point I was working in Domino's as a general manager, and I had two people with master's degrees working underneath me.
Hell
I
yeah,
mean, it's
brother.
it's
Show him the
it's
work.
yeah, exactly right. But it's just crazy, man. I mean, even even the opposite can be true sometimes. Like you can be college educated and not want to go out and do stuff, and you're going to stay where you feel comfortable, you know,
Yeah,
and
it's all
that's
about ambition. Those are the words that this movie lacks. You're not gonna,
yeah,
but the thing is, it lacks in the sense that these characters lack them, not the movie. These movies,
no,
they motivate you to do stuff because you see that, and
hmm
then if it resonates to you really bad and you really feels at home, you're like, okay, maybe I should do something. Um, the whole thing about Clerks with me, I man, if you give it a 30, 13, I'm probably giving it a 15. But I have written down before I even started, I was like, I guys I'm gonna put a score here, and I don't want to complicate the system. I'm just gonna have to say that this is the reason why I wrote this, and then I'm gonna move on. But after you're giving this, I already changed my score. I first wrote for both of them because even the first one, I mean, even Clerks 2, it was a $5 million to make, and it still grossed 27 million. So he still made a shit ton of money on that movie. Like
yeah,
I mean, Clerks got a 7.7 on the 10 on IMDb, and Clerks 2 got a 7.3, which is not far. So these movies are,
mm-mm.
and like as Super Troopers, this is why I think we're understanding how to make a good sequel. You kind of, we know your characters. Don't introduce them to us again. Don't let us like show us what we like about them. You know, show us growth, and at the same time show us how they handle new things. And I think this is why we love to follow characters like that, because we get to, we in ourselves, we get to know that, okay, we, that's their decision, but when we make decisions, we're going to have our own little stories. So I like that this movie really resonates with life. I put a 10 because I was like, it's got to be a 10 for regular people. And I
Yeah,
can't do that because someone that just regularly, if someone that recommend Clerks, like, but I connect so much with this. It is a 13. It's a clear 13 for me. It's a clear 13, but I don't know where it falls. That's why I gave it a 10. I don't
yeah,
know where it falls in my scale. I don't know if it's in my top 10, my top 8. I don't know if it's in my top 25. I don't want to, I love that I keep checking myself in on IMDb whenever I do my watch my movies, except side by sides, because I don't know why I haven't done any of the side by sides. I've been holding those on the side. So now it's time to post them because I feel I think I know why. I'm also wanting to do this other thing. I'll talk to you at the end of the podcast about. I mentioned it before, but I want to just kind of get more into it. That way we can get more involved doing more of this. This is awesome.
yeah,
But like I say a 10, and I was like, it's a 10 because you just watch a great movie, a great story. You're gonna get a little bit of a different genre film. It's an art house film. I would give it kind of like an artsy independent film. But then it's more than that. It's way more than that, and I can't do that to this movie. It's a clear 13. I don't know exactly where it falls, but it's up there. It's got an 89 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like this thing should be like a 99. Um, it hits every cylinder. It hits, it's comedy. You're laughing at it. It's laughing with you. You're laughing at yourself.
hmm
That's what I love about Kevin Smith's writing. You laugh at yourself. It's okay to laugh at
yeah,
yourself. There's nothing wrong with working in a convenience store. There's nothing wrong with being a CEO of a big company. What's the problem? What we're finding out with Dante is if you don't make decisions, that's the bad part. With Randall,
yeah,
if you don't make decisions, that's the bad part. Randall's choosing not to change. What's going to happen? At times are going to pass him. Dante's choosing not to make decisions for himself. What's going to happen? People are going to make decisions for you, and you're never. And that's the thing I love about Becky making fun of Dante about the wedding invitations. He didn't even know that Emma did that, and she's already ripping your cojones off. She's already pulling you, but slow. She's not meaning to. She's not trying to. It's just you're slowly dying. You're going to her work for her dad. It's like it really is painful for someone that if you can't make your own decisions, and you need to understand. And he's already in his 30s, so it's not like you can't be fall back on your youth. But Clerks was definitely a 13. Um, when I saw it when I was younger, I didn't see it at the theaters. I did see it on VHS, and it was one of those movies that when you said Richard Linklater earlier, I was like, yeah, he gets. So Richard Linklater, Robert Rodriguez, Mike Judd, Kevin Smith, like all those guys, Quentin Tarantino, all those guys winning those movies. So there was a time where in the late '90s, you would watch those movies because no one else was watching them. Like
hmm
this is what independent was before, where you watched like it was like a band no one ever heard, and you've watched it. So that's what nowadays everything's independent. Everybody, I made an independent film this weekend. Anybody with $5 in their pocket's a producer. Or it would now I'm finding out anybody who thinks you have $5 in your pocket, you're a producer. You don't need to have the $5. But like I think that the all overall with Clerks, everything you can learn so much of the writing, the acting, the characters, the filming itself. Just even if you just mute the movie and just watch it, you get into it. So that this one does have a nice palette. Let's see, Clerks 2. Even with that score for the 64 and 84, I think this is what we're seeing is a change in critic here.
Yeah.
I think this one 84 it feels the same. It feels the same with added. The difference between Super Troopers 2 and Clerks 2 is Super Troopers gave you the same of what you wanted, and it added the same characters, but where they were it added a different flavor, but where they needed to go. You had the bad crap cops in the first one, the Spurbury police with the bad one, and then they become the Spurbury police, and then they get rid of the bad ones, and then in the new one, and in part 2, they're the new highway patrolmen, and the Mounties are now like the Spurbury police. So it's like you have the same thing here. It's almost like you said, it's almost the same. It's not the same job because it's a burger place. It's kind of different, but it's so out of like business that it doesn't matter. Like they can have a bunch of downtime. But this one, it gives you the Becky character. It gives you a lot more Emma. It gives you the Elias character. I'll even give the Kelly, what's it called, the donkey guy. Like that's even a character, man. And Jay and Silent Bob, you get. I one of the things I do, I wrote before I even watched the movie. I go, I bet you it's gonna have there's gonna be a bigger presence of bigger impact, bigger imprint, presence of Jay and Silent Bob. And
dude, I mean, at the beginning of the movie, that was the only. So in the first one, you had, like you said, the breaks where it would have like paradigm and all these words that if you don't go to, if you don't have a dictionary. Well, I mean, hell, I guess everybody most of the time has an iPhone now. You may not know what the definition of them are just right away. And in this one, the only time you see that is at the very beginning when it says a new and improved Jay and Silent Bob, and that's the only time you get one of those cards. And that was another thing, like you said, I kind of enjoyed about Clerks that we didn't get so much in Clerks 2. But yeah, I mean, just to get it as basic as possible, man. I felt like Clerks 2 was not near as. I think you're right. It just doesn't have that artsy feel to it. It's just not as. Like I said, it's not as sophisticated. It's
got a raunchiness to it. Even when I'm looking at the labels, like if I were back in the day to see a VHS cover of Clerks, I'd rent it. I mean, I've 20. Like I mean, I did probably see when I was younger. I didn't think I wasn't there yet. I was too young. But I think if I was like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, and I'm walking, I see a VHS cover of Clerks, I'd be like, "Oh, that looks different. It's just a solid background with the Clerks and all bonky letters, and then the black and white photo." And it is Kevin Smith is in it, but I mean, not even Jay's in it. Like it's not even Jason's in it.
It's not even Kevin Smith in character.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah. It's just the director Kevin Smith's in it.
Yeah,
but you see that, and then the cover for the second one, it says, "With no power comes no responsibility." Like right there, like they just want to be slackers. This is like a slacker movie, but it has like a fire in the back. It looks a little bit more raunchy. And where Clerks' tagline is, let's see what that one Clerks says. A very
just because
funny
they
look.
Serve you.
Oh, there's one there. You have one there too.
I was looking at the top.
Just because they serve you. That doesn't mean they like you. That's true. And a very funny look at I went straight to the bottom up. You went. I always look back. Everything's backwards. I'm the what do you call it? The inverted guy on the first shooter. I'm the guy that when everybody get on Halo, they'd be like, all right, who the hell's inverted? When sharing the remote controls, I'm the guy you go backwards. Up is down. I play Top Gun, so that's what happened to me. Let's see. No, I mean, even just breaking down the movie posters, it looks like Clerks 2 is a little bit more like raunchy. I think I think maybe Clerks 2 movie poster would peg it down a little bit, but that's about it. Like it's a great movie. I like the ending, and you really feel for the characters. You really feel that they love each other and there's a care. It looks like a great shoot. It looked fun. Like Kevin Smith's shoots looked kind of fun. It looks like literally Ben Affleck just showed up and he did that stupid scene and left. Like he's right away like, oh, it's fucking Ben Affleck. They show you like he's in it.
And you have Ethan Suplee in there too. So a callback to Mallrats and everything.
I like Ethan.
I enjoyed that scene too. Is like, we're in the 12-step program and all this stuff. It's like, is that a Bible? It's the holy fucking Bible.
And I'm happy that you reminded me about that. He went sober because he doesn't, the character doesn't break it in the movie. He doesn't drink or anything, and he's just smoking. Oh god, I clicked the wrong photo, and it's a photo of Andy Milonakis at Clerks 2. All right, so one thing we did talk about. Oh well, we did talk about Halloween movies or October movies. So that's one thing for the future. But we brought up Justin Long earlier, a brief bit, and what popped in my head.
You think Jeepers Creepers?
No, actually it wasn't. But we could do. There is a Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, and I would totally do that. I would love to do that. But
there's even a third one.
Oh, I could do the I could do the trilogy, and I could. We're getting into my territory here, brother. So we
that's that when I you know, like I said, I mentioned this on the podcast earlier, man. I grew up on a ranch, and man, Saturdays were either we were working or we were watching DirecTV pay-per-view movies, and that was one that my dad clicked on, and it scared the bejesus out of me, man. But I enjoyed it. You know, the ending was fantastic. You know, where you get those peepers.
Dude, dude. I think even the way I saw the first one too, and the second one, and it's one of those movies that my aunt and Birdie and I like to watch. So it kind of stayed. We watch it a lot. Like I watch Jeepers Creepers a lot. But I was gonna bring up Waiting and Waiting 2, since these were kind of the same thing. And but I like I said, I was gonna bring up Hubie Halloween because there's advertising for it. So I was like, we can go that angle too. But I like the Jeepers Creeper angle. I'm liking that.
Man, I think we should stick to it. I think October we should stick to some Halloween movies. I was gonna suggest that maybe we do like since one of your favorite movies is Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe we do like Nightmare on Elm Street and like Friday the 13th. I mean, they're both slasher films, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, we don't have to start there, but I would like to visit those two.
If we're going to go down the nightmare. Okay, so this might be a first.
You also have Freddy versus Jason later on. And
we could. So if we could do, and I don't even think I have any time for this, but I'm going to muster it in. If we did maybe Jeepers Creepers 1, 2, and 3.
I think, you know what? Let's just do 1 and 2. They're a little bit closer. They're a little bit closer in time. The third one is not bad.
Have you seen the third one?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you what happened, man. I mean,
I'll do this. I'll do this. We'll mention 3 because I think 3 is mentionable, but we don't have to do a side by side by it. I was gonna say 3 because then that way we could do a Nightmare movie and then a Friday the 13th movie and then Freddy versus Jason, but that'd be 3. I kind of still want to stick with the 2, but Justin Long, you have now got us the Jeepers Creepers band. You got him in here, and the another thing is I was gonna meet him this May for Fright Fest, but it didn't work out. So maybe I'll meet him again. Maybe I'll work with the guy. Let's see. It's like you think I'm talking about movies. I'm like, here's your latte, Mr. Long. Hey, work with the guy. I'm his gopher. I'm his food runner. So Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 so we're going with the Halloween theme. You know, but I mean, it depends because we only meet one time a week, so we only get 4 movies in. We'll be 4 movies.
I think this month has 5. Well, I know it has at least 4 or 5 Thursdays because I remember I like looking at that. Oh, I get paid 5 times this month.
Nice. No, what the reason I'm saying that is because we did bring up.
Actually, it doesn't.
We brought up Hubie Halloween, so I was like, maybe one of those we could figure out a way, or maybe do just a one note, just watch that one movie and talk about it.
Because I plan on it. It comes out this week.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we could do something like that, kind of squeeze a 1 in there, kind of go with
maybe not even side by side, but maybe like an hour of like. What have we thought about Hubie Halloween?
Yeah, just like because it's a recent one. It's a Sandler movie. We're both Sandler guys. It says here, I think it's actually out already. I think it says October 3rd on here.
Was it October? I thought it was the 7th, but I could be wrong.
Let's see. Well, I clicked something here that has it, and it brought me to like a list of movies, and I'm like, well, I didn't want to watch this list. I just wanted Hubie Halloween. Let's see. I didn't pick that movie.
Release date Wednesday.
Oh, so it's this Wednesday?
So, yeah, we can.
We'll talk about that. People listening, we might.
I'm off. I am off on Thursday.
We could do something. I just got work for one client this week, so I got to finish some stuff for him, and I told him I'd have a lot of stuff done. So when I get that done, it'll probably be done by Tuesday. I could have Wednesday or Thursday. I could probably squeeze it in because I'm finding out that I mean, it's my weekend things that I've been doing that are taking up a lot of my time. So now I'm free, so let's get back to work.
Yeah.
Sorry, get back to watching movies. I love it. I'm starting to
Jeepers
get a different.
Creepers is on HBO. Sorry,
Yeah,
just
no, go for it. How about two? Do you know where Jeepers Creepers is?
let's see here. Let's look it up. It it is also on HBO. That is awesome.
Let's
And let's
do it.
see, 3 is not.
Oh no.
You can it's on a lot of stuff. It's on Sci-Fi, NBC, maybe on Peacock. Who knows?
so that's cool. We got Jeepers. I know, right? We got Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, and then I think this was
Coming at you.
another good side by side. I think we're catching a groove here. I really did. I've enjoyed all of them, but I'm enjoying how I'm liking these movies again. Like not just because I knew it's gonna happen, but I'm like doing a video breakdown of them is one of the coolest things we can really do, because I'm picking off from that and bringing it into my world now. And I think the more we do this, because I'm starting to see things now, why like certain angles, certain shots, it's helping me out. I'm starting to understand more about the camera angles and just how to write with it. So
Hey, speaking of camera angles and everything, like you said, with the first one, you said there were a lot of tripods and everything. And one thing that always just kind of threw me off about Clerks 2, even before, like I was really kind of analytical about what you were saying, like camera angles and stuff like that. Whenever he's just like spinning around, whenever him and Randall are having that conversation, it's just like, I don't know, it just throws you off, like it's just, but I think it's meant to do that, like
supposed to.
it's meant to make you feel unbalanced and everything like that.
I'm happy you brought that. I'm happy you brought that up. I didn't write it down, but I wanted to talk about that. He really did well with that shot, because I feel like it's a vortex or like a tornado, and he's bringing you in with all that emotion. My whole thing was because it is throwing you off, and especially after you've been smoking a little, it really throws you for a loop. And as you're spinning in that thing, I'm thinking, first thought I was like, well, Jay and Silent Bob are listening, they're right there. And the other thing I was thinking the speaker on the menu was open and everyone's hearing inside. So that's where my mind went. So, but he's messing with, like, you're like, what's going on? I like that. I gotta say, if you're not ready for it, might throw you off. But I think for the effect that he came across, it came good.
Yeah, no, right. If he was going for that, man, like I said, even before, like whenever I first saw that, I remember like, oh, that's kind of strange, like it wonky is the best word.
Yeah. You think you might think it to me, like I might have kind of taken it as like, whoa, this is too much. But I was so caught up in the scene that it didn't. I kind of just, have you been on that circus ride, the Gravitron, the ones that spins you around like that? So I think that's what it's
where
basically.
You should get sick, but you just stick to the wall.
Yeah, and you go upside down, and then the guy's like, "Can you please turn around so I can stop it?" And you're like, "No," like no. and then that's like the rookie guy, and the vet guy just slams it off, and you just fall straight down. You learn. All right, I'll listen to you next time. Or I'll just learn that when he turns that little light on, you better get back on your butt. You land on your head. But no, yeah. I'm learning a lot with that shot. Was really nice. Like, I mean, I think it's kind of also hard to pull off where you don't get sick, where you don't get your audience sick. Like the way they did it is really for effect. But I'm learning a lot. I like it. I'll show you. We're at the end of Side by Side. So thank you for listening. We kind of just it's another midnight one. It's 2:14 in the morning. We've been trying to get a little bit earlier, but because we could talk, and I started been pushing us late, so see if we can get us going a little bit earlier. But yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, man. On the last thing I want to add is I really want to do another Kevin Smith side by side. Mallrats, man. I want to get that in there some way, shape, or form.
Mallrats and where do you want
sound? Like I said, it'll come up organically. I know it will, because that's when I feel like that's when we get our best stuff out. But a couple years back there was a rumor of like a Mallrats sequel, and that was going to happen, and then it was going to be a TV show. It was called Mallbrats, and it was just supposed to be. I was so excited for that, and then it just got shelved, and I was like, oh. But I mean.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's that's probably one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies is Mallrats. Thus far, I mean, we could even do that and Dogma. I mean, they're pretty close, but I mean, I would like to like to break those down. You got a Stan Lee cameo in there where he's actually playing Stan Lee and not just a cameo. And Ben Affleck, dude. I mean, that's.
Oh, he even beats Matt Damon in the damn thing.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, well, you said something and it stuck in my head. It was something I wanted to bring up, but I forgot. But I just forgot it. But it's basically about Mallrats, Mallrats, Clerks, Dogma. I feel like where I was
Chasing Amy,
all his beginning stuff. I feel like and that one's deep. That one's super deep, man. And I've actually I can relate to him, to Kevin Smith a lot with that. Even with Jason Amy, I've gone through something. And I get to think we brought up that relationship. That's a relationship he has with the Amy Jo Adams, and also Joey Lawrence.
Joey Lawrence. Yeah.
So she has a relationship. That's the one he has in that one, Ben Affleck. But then in Mallrats, all those movies, like I don't feel like people were talking about those movies where I was from, but I just repeated myself, repeater. But I think what was going on, I was going through those, and I was going through those kind of things, but wasn't until I left, and I got closer to when I came to Austin, and I realized like, oh, we could talk about these cool topic conversation movies, and Mallrats was one of those that kind of just like I felt like I had to talk to the video or the comic book guy to really talk about that movie. Like no one my age was talking about that movie, and I was like, man, I remember Mallrats pretty cool. Like, you don't gotta listen to the parents. You could follow his authority figures, or they're there for a reason, But I don't know. I like Mallrats. You're right. I would love to watch Mallrats again, and I'd like to do a comparison. Dogma and Mallrats would be a nice one. Maybe we'll figure something out on our own. But
we gotta get through October, man. We gotta get some of these Halloween movies, and I've pumped Kenya up with because she loves horror movies. So I was like, hey, once October hits, you're gonna be watching these with me because.
Well, if she throws some stuff our way, we'll pick it up.
Dude, she's really good at picking like horror movies that are like creepy in a way. There's one that was called Room that we watched not too long ago.
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, and it was like they created a human in this room that's in their house that like you can wish anything that you want and it comes true, and then they're wanting to have a baby, and then it goes.
Yeah, Shudder.
Man.
They were.
Yeah, it was a Shudder original, actually.
They're promoting that one. I didn't see it. Yeah, no, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, and so she likes that kind of stuff. Which, like I said, sometimes I'm a little baby. I'm like, I don't want to watch that, and she's like, come on, let's just watch it. This is a good month to do it. I mean, I'm more along the lines of like Halloween movies, as far as like Hocus Pocus, or
Did you say Halloween Town?
Yeah, Halloween Town.
I haven't seen.
That's one of her favorites.
I haven't seen Halloween Town, but I met the actress. I get to have a picture with her. I was like,
oh, nice.
I paid. You came with the bundle, so I'm gonna take a picture. Sorry. She was like, okay.
Yeah.
But it was hard. I went 2 days in a row to San Antonio to take these photos, and the first day I thought it was a fluke that I couldn't get to her because her little fans were around her the whole time. So I thought it was like just a rotating window. My window was the opportunity was there. But then when I went Sunday, I noticed, oh no, she has the same fans, but they're just die hard. They're hard to get to. She has like.
Well, there's like 4 of those movies too. Yeah. 4 or 5. Like they make quite a few of them.
Side by side by side by side.
I mean, I got Disney Plus, man. We can watch them. Yeah, those are kind of like the Halloween movies that I'm. Ooh, one that Trick or Treat. Did you ever watch that one?
The one with the little goblin guy.
With the little pumpkin head.
Yeah. See, I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember watching it.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool one. I like that one. There's a few that I'll get a little hankering for, like, oh, what's this about? Or it was on, like Stars or something, and it just kind of like came on, and then I didn't get as scared as I thought I would, or it turns out to be kind of, funny or goofy. Not to necessarily say that one was, but that one has Brian Cox in it too.
Oh, dude, great for actor. He's a good actor.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up, man. I mean, we can literally talk about this all night.
If it weren't for I guess sleep, I think we could, but if it's kind of funny, we're talking about movies. I'm gonna go to sleep thinking about them, and then wake up, talk. Let's do it now. Playing. All right. Well, everybody was. I didn't even introduce myself. We went straight to. We were so eager to do this because it was such a great for just everything about this movie. It was nice to unravel these two movies. I think I want to do. I watch them back to back like I did Super Troopers. I think I'm gonna try to do that. I watched Clerks on Monday, and I just finished watching Clerks 2. And I feel that was a big gap, but I feel like we'll figure it out. But we'll sign off. This is CJ Robles.
This is Ben Garrett, and this is Side by Side.
All right, well, I'll see y'all on the next one for Jeepers Keepers 1 and 2.